All right, hello, hello. We're back. House and Fata Morgana, a Requiem for Innocence tonight. Um, I don't have anything to really talk about at the beginning of this, so we'll just jump right in. As a reminder, if you're new here, I'm Kels, and I will be your player one. You'll hear me talk a lot in these ones, so hopefully that doesn't turn you off. All right, let's recap. So, Jacopo tried to tax the rich to redistribute the wealth fairly, but Odilon warned him that he's going to get lynched if he doesn't immediately satisfy the nobility. Odilon told him that Barnier's art patronage let him bribe everyone and urged him to sell Barnier's art collection to win the favor of fellow aristocrats who would otherwise try to use him. Jacopo went along with it and kept listening to Odilon's words about needing to be cutthroat in a world where everyone is using each other. A year of being Lord exhausted Jacopo. He held back on Odilon's suggestion to get rid of the slums, but he considered moving away from agriculture in favor of creating a trade capital out of the immigrants. Odilon recommended trickle-down economics, told Jacopo about his family, and tried to keep him from meeting Gratien. Jacopo went drinking with Gratien, but Gratien turned out to be a jealous bitch and poisoned him, so Jacopo had to kill him. And I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about that. Like, it had to be done, I get that, but also, yeah, we've lost everyone now at this point, so. The ghost of Barnier taunted Jacopo in his poisoned nightmares about how the people will never love him and his caring nature won't survive the stress. When he woke up, Odilon was dying of a concussion from the protesters who Gratian spilled the beans about Jacopo's false inheritance to. Jacopo decided to execute those who killed Odilon to make an example of them, but Maria only saw the severed heads from the outside and felt betrayed. Jacopo grew more ruthless, paranoid, and drunk as his reign economically flourished and his Barnier nightmares worsened. He repurposed Barnier's second manor into Marie/Pauline's Saintess Church that would eventually become the house in Fata Morgana, so he could expand his religious sphere of influence, enlisting Yukimasa to capture the witch. We all know how that turns out, and Barnier's ghost is happy to remind him it's just the blood banquets all over again. I think, based on what we've got left, I'm going to guess we're pretty close to the end of this, unless something wild happens. But let's find out. Several days later than originally planned, the Far Eastern man finally arrived at the mansion. I had arranged to meet with him on the uppermost level of the observation tower on the church grounds. I hate this tower. Hate it. But of course, we've got to scope out where we're going to shove Morgana into. About time. The man appeared before me, a burlap sack slung over his shoulder. I had ordered he use the sack, afraid he might be foolish enough to actually drag the old woman all the way here. There's your witch. He threw the bag to the ground, causing the woman inside to let out a muffled grunt. It didn't sound like an elderly woman's voice, though. This stench. Tell me you didn't harm her, dog. I smell blood. You only instructed me not to kill her. Mistakes were made, limbs were lost. Big deal, right? Like, okay, that's one way to say it. Exactly. Then a mysterious albino man had dinner with me and started yelling about stuff. Like, it's fine. Damn it. I cleaned up all the blood I got on me. No one suspected anything. He's even farther gone than I imagined. I should have been clearer in my instructions. Though I suppose it doesn't matter much. She's not going to live long either way. That you were able to immediately recognize that it's the smell of blood says quite a bit, Lord. You have killed before, haven't you? Enough yapping. She is alive, yes? No, the bag just makes those weird noises. It's fine. Of course. Fighting back a sigh, I tossed my gaze from the man to the bag. I felt slightly sorry for the woman, but the feeling didn't last long. I had seen too many bloodied, mangled bodies, both dead and alive, to be fazed by one more. He crouched down to untie the bag, and a young girl came tumbling free. Oh, poor Morgana. It, it can't be. As soon as I saw her, I knew exactly who the girl was. It had been 4 years, but no length of time could wipe from my memory those patches on her face, or those breathtaking gold eyes. But why? How? What was she doing inside the bag? Why had I ordered her captured? How how could I have done that? M- Morgana. She was pale as death, shaking visibly. Confusion seized me, a cloud of swirling darkness forming before my eyes. The first thought that came to mind was that he had gotten the wrong person. I had only ordered her capture because I thought the witch by the lake an old woman. If I had known she was a young girl, let alone her, I would have never given the command. But those thoughts led nowhere. I was simply trying to avoid facing reality, trying to place the blame on anyone but myself. I couldn't take back what had already been done. I am like the blood banquets thing just hit me. He literally is going to take her blood just like the blood banquets to put it in fucking vials. I'm so mad. I don't know why that didn't click before, but literally, it is another blood banquet. Jacopo, what the fuck, man? I couldn't take back what had already been done. I couldn't change it. There she was, the girl who had once won my affection, lying in a ball on the cold stone with an arm missing. It didn't matter how we had gotten here, or what I had felt about her. There was no fixing what I had done. She looked up at me, at the source of the muttering above her. Her eyes were open almost frighteningly wide, and they wandered aimlessly, unfocused to the point I wasn't sure she was seeing anything at all. I felt a tinge of madness in her. Is that you? The words spilled from her lips, so soft they barely reached my ears. Hardly a trace of the beautiful singing voice from my memory remained. It was hoarse and raspy, every sound seemingly laced with an unfathomably deep, pitch black hatred for all existence. You. You remember me? Would she even be able to recognize me anymore? How could I ever forget? Morgana. She remembered me? The days we spent together. What kind of person I had been. The boy who had refused to give up putting ointment on her face. All our friends. Those horribly unromantic encounters at the graveyard. Her taking shots at me taking shots at her. Did she really remember? All the time we had shared? How could I ever forget? All, all the pain and humiliation you put me through. What? How could I ever forget the blood Sabbaths you so loved to hold? What? What was she talking about? Haven't had enough, have you? Leaving scars on every inch of my body wasn't enough for you? You haven't had your fill of my blood? I couldn't even begin to process the words I was hearing. They were little more than angry, meaningless shouts crashing into me. What the hell was she saying? Did she think I was someone else? Did she think I was him? That I was Barnier? No. No, Morgana. That wasn't me. I wasn't the man who had caused you so much agony. Look at the girl. You would claim you haven't caused her pain? You're the man who bound me, cut me up, called me a witch, and then tried to kill me. I haven't forgotten you even for a moment. No, I was the man who rescued you from him, I wanted to shout, but I couldn't gather the strength to force up a single word. Only gasps of air came from my lips. It was like I had been robbed of my voice. I don't care how much my father preaches forgiveness. That's the one thing you'll never get from me. I despise you with all my soul. I revile you with every fiber of my being. For every scar you gave me, I give you a lifetime of hatred. No, Morgana. When I finally managed to produce a sound, it was barely more audible than a whisper. In a frenzy, I made to reach out for her, when I noticed the pair of narrow eyes glaring at me. I was not aware you knew the witch, Lord. Huh? Know her? I don't just know her. She's Morgana. She's the girl I. This man, the Lord, he destroyed me, mind and body. Uh, no, she's not wrong. That was another man. You have become that man to her. I am not Barnier. Do you hear yourself, boy? You're the rightful heir to the Barnier name, are you not? That's what you said when you stole the throne from me. This man ruined my life. How will you respond, boy? Will you say it wasn't you? Can you say it wasn't you? How will you convince her? She's clearly not in her right mind. Would she even understand it if you revealed the truth? Can you do that, knowing it won't make it through to her? Will you tell her you're nothing more than a slum rat, an usurper, that you deceived your way into power, that everything you built up over these years was all a lie, that you killed your former friends for nothing, that Odilon died for nothing, that you endured betrayal after betrayal for nothing? Do you have the spine to say it, boy? All the sacrifices you made, all the pain you suffered to make it here, could all come crumbling down the moment you do. What will it be, false lord? Is the girl worth it? Is sharing the truth with this half-dead girl on the brink of madness worth losing everything you worked so hard to accomplish? Make your choice. What's the matter, lord? Y- yes, I know her. Or I knew her years ago. I see. What do you want to do then, Lord? You look sick. What do I want to do? Obviously, why on earth? This doesn't change anything. We lock the witch up and proceed as planned. Did I make this choice? Congratulations, boy. Thus concludes your inheritance of the name Lord Barnier. Exactly. It calls itself Lord Barnier, kills to enrich himself, and feeds people your blood. It really might as well be Lord Barnier. All right, 4 years earlier. Yeah, and Yukimasa has to be watching all of this, going, "Okay, whatever. Am I good? Can I go now? Just want to get a church for the lady I'm like weirdly obsessed with." It wasn't until I lost everything that I truly understood how blessed I had been, how much my time with them had allayed my wounded spirit, and how hard they had worked to mold me into an ordinary girl. But that was all gone now. I may not have said as much, but I liked it there. I was quite fond of the tranquility. I didn't want to lose it. I wanted to be happy as much as anyone else. I'd long lost track of how far I had walked. My legs were stiff and my knees didn't want to bend anymore. It took all my effort to remain upright, and I was certain I would never get back up if I did fall down. I still couldn't wrap my head around what had happened. It was all so sudden, all so horribly senseless. It was so mind-bogglingly horrendous. Part of me refused to believe it was anything more than a bad dream. And that was what kept me walking. Because if I did accept it as reality, I would lose what remained of my will to live. It was supposed to be a party. The girls got together to celebrate my birthday, making food and treats that, while hardly extravagant, they were still a significant improvement over what we usually had. Everyone was laughing. Part of me was irritated by the whole affair, as I had never been comfortable in such lively environments. They were celebrating me, my birthday. I should have been overjoyed. Maybe this was my punishment for being so unappreciative. As soon as I stepped out, bandits raided the brothel. Had I stayed there but for a few minutes longer, things likely would have turned out quite differently. Whether for better or worse, I couldn't begin to guess, but at the very least, I probably wouldn't be here, alone. I could have gone with them to the next life. Or you could have stayed with Maria and she wouldn't be alone. I'm still very bitter about the fact that Maria literally ended all of this shit alone. During the raid, a man grabbed me, and I lost consciousness almost immediately after. When I awoke, I was in a foul-smelling carriage. People were packed into the carriage like livestock. There were dozens of them, every inch of usable space filled with a body. Looking out across the cramped space, I knew instinctively I was on my way to becoming a slave. Once, I had been sold off as a saint, a highly valuable commodity. But this time around, I was cheap, expendable labor. I was filled with an overwhelming emptiness as the realization struck. Something resembling sorrow wavered about in the void as well. But it wasn't a sadness for my own predicament. It broke my heart knowing I would never see them again. That everyone I had to thank for all those warm, peaceful days had either been killed or sold off. In time, the sadness swelled to form tears in my eyes. My whole life I had managed to endure without crying, and the first time I did, I shed tears for someone else. The man sitting next to me asked, "Why are you crying?" To which I answered, "I'm sad because I didn't get the chance to show my gratitude to people very dear to me." But if that had been the end of our conversation, I wouldn't be here, hobbling down this endless road alone. I wouldn't be covered in so much blood. It's kind of occurring to me too, like Morgana undergoes the reverse of Jaren's story as well, right? Jaren gets sold into slavery and then ends up going to the brothel and all of that, whereas Morgana's doing the opposite. I don't know if that's relevant or not, but it does make it for an interesting foil, especially because if you look at how things change, Jaren ends in love and Morgana absolutely ends in hatred. So, some time after I had responded, the man suddenly stood up and murdered the guards and slave traders. At first, the other slaves thought they were saved, and for a moment, I believed so too. He was a very curious looking man. His eyes smaller and narrower than ours, his nose a different shape. I had never seen anyone who looked like him before. All I knew was that he wasn't from around here. The man, wielding a sword stolen from a guard, searched through the slave trader's clothes for the keys to our shackles, which he gave to me and made me free his hands, before proceeding to kill the slaves. I stood aghast as the massacre unfolded before me. Blood pooled at my feet. Severed limbs were strewn about the carriage. Bodies piled up haphazardly, many having only enough time for their eyes to go wide in shock before being cut down. Men, women, children, everyone equals at the end of his blade. The strange-looking man laughed as he slaughtered the slaves. He laughed and he laughed, like he was having the time of his life. And when he was done, he stepped out of the carriage and wandered off, leaving me alone, the sole survivor. I had witnessed so much death in so short a time. Cruel, meaningless violence. Its victims powerless to resist. And here I stood among the bodies, left alive. For some inexplicable reason, left alive. The screams, the despair, the pleas, the death, the laughter, all reverberating inside my head. Oh, Father, who art in heaven, please give me your mercy. I cannot take it anymore. I pray, free me from this pain. My spirit was about at its breaking point. I was certain that I too would sink into the bottomless abyss if I kept all these emotions inside me much longer. I walked and walked and walked and walked. No food, no water, my exhaustion at its peak, my mind in a complete haze. When, off in the distance, I caught sight of a lake. So thirsty. Water! I began hobbling in the general direction of the lake, not caring that it took me off the main road. Bandits could have assailed me. Wild animals made me their prey. None of that mattered to me anymore. At least then I wouldn't have to walk anymore. But for better or for worse, I made it to the lake unmolested. The water was clear as crystal and seemed to sparkle like one as well. That doesn't mean that it's safe water to drink. Like, please, Morgana, I know you're like dying of thirst, but please boil that. Like, maybe the entire town dies because you have a parasite from this lake. As soon as it was within reach, I dropped to my knees and drank, my thirst seemingly insatiable. The blood covering me had dried several days earlier, but its bitter stench lingered. So, after a brief glance about my surroundings, I washed myself. The chill of the midwinter lake water and occasional gust of wind pierced me to my very bones. No one in their right mind would bathe in this weather. But common sense and the chattering of my teeth didn't stop me. I wanted only to be clean again, and the frigid water felt like it would strip everything away, leaving my body and spirit new and unsullied. Once I was satisfied, I came to the belated realization that a small cottage sat on the lakeside. Exactly, I don't see any severed arms in this water. It must be clean. There's smoke coming from the chimney. Maybe there's someone inside. It could it could be someone bad though. Maybe it would be safer to stay away. But who knows when I might find someone else. Excuse me, is anyone there? Hello? The door's unlocked. It was so warm inside. The heat from the fire seeped into my chilled flesh, spreading slowly. I almost burst into tears again. Sitting before the fireplace was an old woman. A cauldron hung above the flames, bubbling with a curious colored liquid. Ma'am? The woman merely sat there, her head drooped. Slowly, I approached her, half certain of what I would find, and placed my hand on her shoulder. She was dead, and I hardly so much as batted an eye at the sight of yet another corpse. In fact, she looked like she had passed quite peacefully by comparison. How blessed she was. There was no sign bandits had been rooting through the cottage. Presumably, she had fallen asleep and passed away naturally while in the middle of concocting something. Looking around the room, I found myself surrounded by countless items I couldn't begin to identify. Plants of all colors hanging from the ceiling to dry, berries crushed and stored in small glass bottles. Were I to guess, the old woman made her living off herbal medicines. Having gotten a good look around the room, I thought that perhaps I had been guided here. And if my father had led me to this place, he would not frown upon me for doing what was necessary to make use of it. So I dragged the old woman's corpse from the cottage and pushed it into the lake. If I didn't take up residence in the cottage, someone else eventually would, or it would just be left to deteriorate. And I would rather take the opportunity bestowed upon me to have a place to rest my weary soul. As the woman's body sank into the clear lake, a realization struck me. I hadn't crossed myself. A few days after I moved into the cottage, a man came to the door. Apparently, he had been a customer of the woman's, a witch by trade, and he was looking for more medicine. When I spoke to him through the door, he gave a short gasp and said, "Who are you? Where's the witch?" I I am her granddaughter. She is not presently home. Huh, never knew the old lady had kids. So when's she gonna be back?
Not, not for some time.
Well, damn. You know much about herbs, girl?
What?
As long as I can get my medicine, I don't really care who supplies it. You, her, doesn't matter. I'll still pay.
One moment, please.
My knowledge of herbology was essentially non existent. But if there was a possibility I could make a living off of it, there was no reason for me not to try. I asked the man to give me as much information about the herbs he had been receiving color, texture, smell, anything and rummaged about until I found something that fit the description. The entire exchange occurred through the barely cracked door. The man paid me as promised, but I quickly realized that the money wasn't of much use to me as I had no intention of returning to the city. There we go. I found this dank kush. So I told him that in the future I would trade for supplies, which he happily agreed to. A few days later, another man called upon the cottage. But unlike the first man, he sounded crude and uncivilized. I didn't want to cut off a potential source of supplies, though, so I handed him the medicine he requested. But when I did, he let out a low snicker and said, "What do you say I look after you, girlie?" He then shoved his hand in through the crack in the door and grabbed my wrist. "You ain't fooling me. The hag's dead and it's just you, ain't it? A little girl like you needs someone to look after or make sure no bad men threaten ya." Every word that came from his mouth oozed with sleaze. I knew what would happen if he got the door open.
Let go!
Whoa. I yanked my arm back with all my strength, slammed the door shut, and set the bar. But even that wasn't enough to quell my uneasiness, so I put a chair against it as well. The man pounded on the door, each slam of his fists causing the whole room to vibrate. "Overreact much, huh, girlie? Come on, open up. I still ain't paid you yet. Brought something real nice, too. Open up, I want you to have it."
I don't need your payment. I am never doing business with you again, so please get off my property.
"Wanna say that again? You got a lot of nerve, eh, you little bitch? Open the damn door. You don't want to know what'll happen if you don't. You got more for sale than just bags of leaves, don't ya? Open the fucking door."
Just stay quiet, Morgana. The best way to handle people like him is to just not respond.
Good for nothing, you. One day you'll learn your lesson. This world will eat a little girly like you right up. After giving the door one final parting kick, the man stormed off, loudly grumbling about how stupid and ungrateful I was all the while. I didn't deserve a word of his cursing, but at the same time I couldn't bring myself to be upset about it. He was right. The world would not be kind to a young girl living on her own. Not so long as men like him roamed free. I paced before the fireplace, my mind racing. I can't be sure I'm safe anywhere, not even here. But going back to the city isn't an option. Not while the Lord lives to keep throwing his blood sappets. Everyone who might have protected me is gone. I have to make it on my own now. I'll have to be very careful about opening the door. I could be attacked again, or worse. I mean, most men would probably run as soon as they saw my face, but most doesn't mean all. There are some out there who will go after anyone. I can't let my guard down while I'm doing business. Not even for a second. Man or woman, everyone is a potential threat. I'll make it on my own. I don't need anyone else. Me and only me. Being out here has really shown me just how sheltered I was at the brothel. How kind everyone was. How peaceful my life was. I just want to go back. No, stop it, Morgana. You're stronger than that. I put enough wood on the fire for it to last the whole night, then curled up into a ball and slept beside it. For the first time in my life, solitude frightened me. Morgana,
Mm-hmm.
what, were you planning to sleep all day? Come on, you're not Jaren.
Huh?
About time. Good morning. Well, what little remains of it, anyway. What's with that look? Still waking up?
What are you doing here?
Excuse me? Why would I not be here?
That doesn't answer my question. How did you even...
A little bird told me where to find you.
So you survived?
Do I look dead to you?
No, but still, I thought you were killed during the raid.
I may not be as good as a sword as someone, but you know I'm no pushover. I wasn't gonna let a bunch of bandits get the best of me. I know, they always give us this little moment of sweetness amidst the trauma, and it just makes the trauma so much worse. It's like, you have to be up to go down, and, down to go up and all that. Yeah, they're very good at it. What, were you worried? Seriously? And here I thought all you knew how to do was damn me to the fires of hell.
Was I worried?
Of course I was, you oblivious dolt!
I never actually meant it when I said you should be cast into hell. Of course I want to see you alive. Of course. It would hurt me to lose you.
I'm sorry. That was callous of me.
I was afraid. I would never see you again. I thought I had lost everything. Everyone.
Well, I mean, you're gonna see him again. There's a plus on that one. Not in the way you want, but you will see him again.
I was scared to death.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. No need to cry. You're tougher than that.
I'm not crying.
If you say so.
And what do you mean I'm tougher than that? What do you think I am, made of stone? First you try to pretend I'm a normal girl, and now you act like I'm some kind of heartless creature. Make up your mind already.
I'm sorry, really. You're a perfectly ordinary girl, Morgana.
Can you say that looking at my face?
I'm looking at it right now.
Even though I'm a mean-spirited, bitter little girl?
Even though you're a mean-spirited, bitter little girl. Though it's nice you acknowledge it.
I'll burn in hell. Say, I want to ask you something, and I want you to not call me weak for it this time.
Let's hear it.
Will you stay with me? I don't want to be alone anymore. It terrifies me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll stay right here, forever.
You know you won't be able to accomplish your dreams out here, right? And you're fine with that?
You bet. You told me to stay, and stay I will. We live right on a lake, and there's some mountains nearby. All things considered, it's not a bad location. We can plant some crops, go fishing in the lake, sprawl out on the grass under the starry sky. Sounds like a pretty good life to me. And maybe sometimes you could sing a little song, and I'll sit there listening quietly. Or if you want some accompaniment, I can procure some instruments. That sound as nice to you as it does to me. Nothing. Seriously? What else could you want? How about...
No, 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 no. That's more than enough. Yes. If I could have a life like that, it will have made every misfortune in my life worth suffering.
You deserved a life like that, Morgana. Exactly. We can plant roses, look at phenakistoscopes, invest in the railroad industry. I can pretend you're my, forget that you're my wife, that you exist, and get played against you. It's fine.
He's not here. It was a dream. What else could it have been? He's dead, just like everyone else. They all died in the raid. And even if he was alive, he wouldn't come looking for me. What a childish dream. Hmm. Fight it, Morgana. You cannot cry over a simple dream. You are the daughter of God. Your tears are only to be shed for others, not yourself.
Oh my God, Morgana, please. How much more like moaning can I do on this microphone? Um, I pounded my fists against the door again and again and again, sobbing like a petulant child. I had never cried like this before. Not as I witnessed men, women, and children being slaughtered. Not when I was taken from my home. Not when I was chained up and tortured by the Lord. It wasn't until I realized just how much I needed that warmth, and that I would never have it again, that my spirit hit rock bottom. Finding and then losing happiness hurt worse than anything else. I wish, I wish I had never known happiness. I wish no one had ever shown me kindness. Not if it means I have to go through this. I wish I had never known what it was like to be normal. I could have just, I could have just stayed the daughter of God my whole life. Then I wouldn't be, then I wouldn't be feeling like this. I never knew crying like that was so exhausting, and I never want to experience it again. I want to go back to who I used to be, a saint. If I didn't know happiness, I wouldn't have to feel like this. I just I just have to forget it all. That part of my life, it never happened. No peace, no rest, only trials from my father. That is all I have ever known. It's not hard. Just don't think about those years. Then you won't have to cry like this ever again. It's for the best. It's my only choice. See, I was always right. I never was, and never will be normal. The only ones who will offer me salvation are God or one of his angels. Yeah, we are absolutely seeing the growth of the white-haired girl in her soul. Like there's the turning point. So, and now it kind of makes more sense why like the appearance of the white-haired girl wasn't like Jaren. It reflected Michael and all of that. So, because literally she's just blocked herself off from all of that.
And so I did precisely that. I led a solitary life. I did all my business hidden behind the cottage door, and I sent away anyone who wasn't here for medicine. Once, a mounted man in armor rode up to the cottage. He looked like a knight, but I had no interest in getting involved with anyone who went around carrying weapons. I was responsible for my own safety, so I had to be careful about who I opened my door to. I had to be extra careful about who I dealt with. But I didn't feel sad or lonely about it. By making that my normal, there was nothing to lament, which meant old memories served no purpose but to cause me pain. So I endeavored to push them far, far away into the depths of my mind. I couldn't simply discard my memories of what the Lord had done to me, of course, or of all the wonderful people I had met at the brothel. But as time trekked on, they faded into almost nothing. I couldn't describe what any one person's voice sounded like, how they acted around me, what kind of person they were, the things we did together, what they looked like, what their name was, anything of importance. I knew good and well it was callous to forget about all the people who had shown me so much kindness and warmth, but I would never see them again, and thinking about them only brought me pain. so there was no point in remembering. It was all I could do to make it by. Nearly 4 years had passed since I had assumed the role of the lakeside witch. My 16th birthday was approaching, but my age was perhaps the only thing I had in common with an ordinary teenage girl. Although, if I had grown up like any other girl, having spent my childhood as a saint before being held captive by the Lord and made to witness countless people's deaths, that would probably mean there was something deeply wrong with me. By that point, a terrible cynicism had taken root in my heart. I built high walls around myself, keeping my contact with the outside world as terse and pragmatic as possible. With each passing day, my voice grew more monotonous, my interactions following a well rehearsed script. My customers didn't make any attempt to force their way into my shell either. I'd begun to suspect that they might think me not a witch by trade, but that I'd actually formed a pact with the devil and worked his dark magic. No one said as much, but I could sense what seemed to be fear in their voices when they came to me. On the other hand, I never had anyone else try to force themselves into the cottage like the man 4 years earlier, so I would say I had a rather peaceful life. If you considered a life in which no one wanted anything to do with you peaceful, that is. I had also come to learn a fair bit about herbology. I could now make my own medicines, rather than just making do with what was already here when I moved in. Although a fair bit still amounted to almost nothing when compared to what my predecessor was capable of. Nonetheless, I had a relatively solid grasp on what herbs to use to treat different symptoms, enough to formally assume the name of the Lakeside Witch at least. And so time flowed on, uneventful and quiet. Until one day, when a young man showed up at my door.
Exactly. Morgana is literally not like other girls. Although I will say, like, none of the other girls that we've ever seen in this game or the previous game had an easy childhood. So, everyone here has just suffered.
Excuse me, is anyone home? I knew right away that he was a new customer. No one who had traded with me before bothered with such pleasantries anymore. They wanted the process to be quick and frictionless, and I preferred it that way as well. Who's there? When I responded from behind the door, he seemed to be taken aback. After several moments with no answer, I tensed up slightly and repeated the question. Uh, my sister has fallen very ill, and she desperately needs medicine. He has a very pretty voice. I was told that the person who lives here is a skilled herbalist. Could I please get something to treat her? What are her symptoms? Uh, uh, she's got an extremely high fever that won't come down. She has no appetite. She's only drinking water, and she can't get out of bed. Everyone always seems to be looking for medicine for themselves. I haven't had a customer like him in some time now. We're going to want to lower her fever first. After that, get her on a nutritious diet. I'm going to give you 2 medications. Give her the first while her fever's high, and the second after it's come down. Thank you very much. When was the last time someone thanked me? Here's your medicine. It's powdered, so mix it with some water and have your sister drink it.
Um, are you not going to open the door any wider?
Is that necessary?
No, sorry. Just a second. Let me get you your money.
Uh,
Hmm?
I take supplies for my services, not money.
Oh, I didn't realize. I'm so sorry. This is all I have on me today. Would you maybe be willing to accept this as payment today?
Very well. Is that a gold coin? Those herbs aren't worth nearly this much. Just who is this man? And what on earth is he doing here at a witch's cottage? In any other situation, I wouldn't have even been tempted to look. What if he saw me? He would think me disgusting, ridicule me like everyone else. It didn't hurt knowing what people thought of me, but it was hardly pleasant hearing it vocalized either. And what if he decided to do something in that moment I dropped my guard? He could force the door open, have his way with me. He doesn't seem like that kind of man, though. Trust was about the farthest thing from my mind when interacting with people these days. I always remained on high alert, keeping a safe distance from everyone, no matter how good they appeared on the surface. But for some reason, I felt strangely comfortable in this young man's presence.
Morgana, no!
At the time, I couldn't have explained why. But in retrospect, I imagine it was largely a result of his upbringing. He spoke in a clear, well enunciated voice. He had a polite, friendly air about him, which I could feel even through the door. It wasn't the sort of well mannered you could fake with a bit of practice, nor the sort you encountered out in the middle of nowhere. Curiosity took hold of me. I had to know what he looked like. I wasn't going to throw the door open, of course, and I had no intention of inviting him in either. I just wanted to get a little peek at him through the crack in the door. So I opened it ever so slightly wider than usual when I reached out to take his payment. Uh, oh no, he saw me. Wow, I didn't think you would be so young. I'd guessed you were a little older. What? Thank you for doing business with me, and I'm sorry for not coming properly prepared. If I need any more, I'll be sure to bring supplies next time. Uh, all right. Again, I really appreciate it. Have a nice day. You too. He he saw my face, and he wasn't disgusted. He actually smiled. I was so caught off guard, I thought for a second that maybe my face had healed. So I ran over to the water basin, and a glimmer of hope in my heart gazed in at my reflection. But the face looking back at me was the same as always, a grotesque, unsightly, patchy mess. Part of me was disappointed, but more than anything, I was flabbergasted by what had just happened. How could he smile at the sight of my face? For a split second, my mind slipped back in time 4 years. The man who had applied ointment to my face, he had never seemed disturbed by my appearance either. Not long afterward, the young man called upon my cottage again. He said that the medicine had briefly relieved his sister's symptoms, but that it had failed to actually cure what ailed her. Herbal medicine required patience and persistence before its effects manifested, I informed him, to which he responded with a sad smile. He was a handsome young man, not far from what I imagined his voice, and the smile suited him quite well. There was a distinct elegance emanating from him. Ragged clothing aside, he was about how I envisioned a fairy tale prince might look, though I knew quite well those only existed in fiction. Real nobles were terrible, miserable, reprehensible people. After a few visits, we started having little conversations outside of our business transactions. He told me his name, Mel, as well as his sister's, Nellie, and I told him mine. Mel was 17, only a year older than me. Then one day, he invited me outside for a walk. It's not healthy to stay holed up inside all the time. You've got this beautiful lake right here. What do you say we take a little walk around the shoreline? I was going to turn him down, but my mouth seemed to disagree with my mind, and the next thing I knew, I was taking a walk with someone for the first time in years. Although with might be something of a stretch, I kept a safe distance from him as we walked. Mel seemed disappointed with my unwillingness to get any closer, but I couldn't bring myself to trust him that much yet. Nonetheless, it was a momentous enough occasion that I felt justified describing it as such. I'm sure I made him uncomfortable on numerous occasions during our walks. To say I acted disagreeably would be an understatement. Any time he closed the gap between us, I stepped a little farther away. Every response I gave was curt, and I repeatedly shot him down whenever he started getting wistful or sentimental. The Morgana of 4 years prior might have been a little softer with him, a little more human. Maybe she would have given him a little smile or a pout instead. But that girl was long gone. I despised the humanity that had once started taking root in me, and I endeavored to be something different again. In one instance, he heard a robin chirping and said, "If I had wings like a bird, maybe I could be free too." To which I responded, "There is not a single creature living in this world that is free. Well, birds regularly get shot down by hunters or preyed on by larger birds. The idea that they are free is nothing more than man's short-sighted delusion." Uh, sorry. I guess. No, I should be apologizing. I wasn't trying to attack you. I simply lack the ability to properly empathize with others. I do not understand people. So please, if I say anything that upsets you or makes you uncomfortable, don't assume that was my intention.
Uh, Sure. Maybe you're hiding it, or maybe you just don't know it yet, but I think you've got more empathy than you're letting on. Surely you can't say nothing affects you at all. You are human.
At one point, that was true, though it was perhaps somewhat difficult for others to see. I felt great beauty in the world when I knelt before the gravestones, but such sentiments have long since been lost to me.
So you don't have to be so closed off. I might not be able to do much for you, but I do want to get to know you better. I want to understand you. So if you ever feel like talking about yourself, just know that I've got an eager pair of ears here. Okay?
If there were ever someone who could understand me, if there were ever someone who could understand what I am now, who could empathize with me, who had been through trials as great as mine, they would not be human.
What do you mean?
That you would need to be far removed from any idea of humanity to have a chance at understanding me. Regardless, I do appreciate your kind words.
Sure. So, out of curiosity, do you have anyone, really important to you in your life?
Not at the moment.
Does that mean you used to?
I'd love to hear about them,
If you don't mind.
they're all long dead. 4 years ago, something unpleasant occurred, and as a result of that, I was forced to part ways with the people who taught me that humans have the capability for kindness.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well then, if your sister's condition worsens again, come see me. Farewell.
Hey, maybe we could walk a little slower next time so we have more time to talk. I want to get to know you better.
I'll consider it.
All right.
So long.
Uh, Bye. See you soon. I think they're very cute. Like, I like them better than I like Morgana and Chocopo. I think this is like one of those awkward teenage crushes. It's not going anywhere, right? They're not going to end up together for the rest of their lives, but they could be a awkward teenage couple. It's kind of cute. I do like it.
I was conscious of how cold and distant I was being toward him, but I had no interest in changing anything.
Not that I even knew how to anymore.
I had never known particularly well how to choose the right words, the proper way to act in various circumstances. But what little knowledge I had possessed, I'd long since lost. I assumed, after the things I had said to him, Mel would never ask me on another walk again. But I was wrong. He did the very next time he came for medicine, and every time after that as well.
Exactly. If Morgana were a man, Nellie's Fujoshi taste would permit it. So, it's true. Hey, so I was thinking, I bet you'd make a really good singer if you wanted.
A, a singer?
Yeah, you've got this really pretty voice. I think it'd be nice if you tried using it to sing. I'm sorry, it's not my place to tell you what to do. You hardly talk. Why would I think you'd want to sing?
I'm glad we're on the same page. Never again.
Sorry about that, really. Anyway, I wonder who first came up with the idea to sing. You can brighten someone's day or sour their mood with just the sound of your voice. Kinda amazing, don't you think? It's almost like magic. Oh, and there are battle songs too for getting soldiers fired up for combat.
Battle. Now there's a word I never expected to hear from you.
I mean, I am a guy. I admire anyone who has the strength to go to battle. I could never ever do it myself, though. The sight of blood makes me sick, and I barely know which end of the sword you're supposed to grab.
You're a noble, aren't you? What need do you have for knowing how to use a sword?
That's what I used to think too. But now I think I should have gotten training. I may not have been a soldier, but I needed to be strong. I could have avoided so much if I was. And Nellie wouldn't have to live in a rundown shack in the middle of nowhere.
As I recall, he said once that he was forced from his house after a dispute over who the rightful heir was. High society sounds like endless fun.
I'm sorry. I'm sure you don't care about any of this.
No, you're fine. I'm the one who asked.
Thanks. I want you to know, I really do appreciate it.
Hm?
It's nice to just be able to talk about this stuff to someone.
You're naturally sociable. I'm sure you could find plenty of other people willing to listen out in the middle of nowhere where we all live.
Mm, I don't get into town much, not even to run errands, so I'm still kind of an outsider. You're my only friend right now. Uh, I hope that wasn't too presumptuous of me.
Call me whatever you like.
Oh, thank goodness. We should do this more often, really. Talk more, get to know each other better, become better friends.
To what end?
No, and just, you know, having friends is better than being alone. That's all.
I see. I'll be heading back in now. See you again.
Yeah. See you soon, Morgana. Yeah, sorry. I hate to tell you this, Mel. Friends don't generally get other friends' arms cut off and locked in a tower. Just gonna put that one out there. I get that, he was kind of blackmailed into it, but also some people have standards.
Little by little, his words were getting closer to reaching the old me.
Not enough to provoke an actual response, of course. But that wasn't his fault. I had locked myself up too deeply. I no longer knew how to express emotions, most especially those that resulted from human warmth. However, I'd regained enough of something to feel a sort of nostalgia in my interactions with Mel. And I thought perhaps, with enough time, I could go back to who I had been 4 years prior. But shortly thereafter, he threw all that into a wind with a single utterance. I'll take anything at this point to make her better. I'll even take a miracle if I can get one. He appeared exhausted that day, much more than usual. His sister's condition had begun to worsen again. That one muttered word set off a spark in my mind. It sent me back in time, well beyond when I was taught humanity 4 years ago, to my very origin. I was the daughter of God. My blood had healing properties, and the instant I remembered that, there was only one course of action I could take. Without a moment's hesitation, I informed him that miracles did exist, that I had been born a saint, and that my blood had miraculous powers. That after leaving the village of my birth, my power had only ever been misused. First by the Lord for his sick banquets, and then by me for letting it lay idle for so long. Now was the time for me to correct that. He was a kind-hearted young man who loved his sister. Who deserved this blessing more than them? I told him everything. At first he was surprised, but never once did he accuse me of lying. He listened carefully and intently, taking in every word. And when I was finished, he said he believed me. He said he would entrust his sister's care to me. Mel's sister slept upon a single bed. She was a sweet little girl who looked like she would have been quite spirited if not for her ailment. Both she and her brother had beautiful flaxen hair. They looked as if they had both been yanked from a painting. Seeing them there, I wanted to do everything I could to help them, to ensure their happiness. And I knew I had the ability to do so. No longer would I be the one receiving others' charity. I could be the one giving it again. And so I made a new cut on my mostly healed arm. For the briefest of moments, a flash of him applying ointment appeared in my mind, but I quickly cast it off. The flaxen-haired girl showed signs of recovering as a result of my miracle. The boy came to my cottage, overjoyed to thank me.
I was extremely proud of myself. I felt like for once I had actually saved someone's life. I had finally been able to use my gift to help someone truly good. After the miracle, though, he stopped referring to me as his friend. Understandably so. No one could think of themselves as equals with someone who performed miracles. Awe, fear, reverence, they were all feelings that came from the same place. An inability to think of me as a human who experienced the world the same way he did. He saw me as abnormal. I had always been fine with that. That was how it was supposed to be. Being different was what I had always wanted, and in some way, it was what had kept me going. So seeing him put more and more distance between us shouldn't have bothered me in the slightest.
Yeah, no, Morgana, he saw you as hot. He's a teenage boy who currently has no one but his sister around him. Um, yeah.
But I continued to offer his sister my blood, no matter how distant he grew. Eventually, he stopped inviting me on walks. But that didn't matter. I would serve my duty and perform miracles regardless. He would simply knock on my cottage door and say, Um, my sister's fallen ill again. Would you come perform another miracle? I could hear the apprehension in his voice. No longer did he show me his gentle smile. No longer did we listen to the birds singing together. No longer was I the one being cold and distant. And no longer did he say, see you again when we parted ways.
I mean, being fair to him, his sister is dying right now. Like, he's probably got other things on his mind. I get that she is getting better in short bursts, but then she's falling ill again. So, he might have other things he's thinking about.
Back in my village, when everyone feared and revered me as a saint, it filled me with a childish sense of superiority. But there was no superiority now, only a prickling in the softened shell of my heart. I was no longer the child I had once been. I had changed. I had learned what warmth felt like. My memories of that time were vague and ethereal, but the feelings they had created lived on, deep within me. For a time, I had felt a warm familiarity around Mel, which only made me yearn for him to treat me that way again. I wanted to be able to open up to someone once more, though I never said as much out loud. Gloomy day after gloomy day passed, and then I received a new visitor. I asked them their business from behind the door, but they hesitated for a few moments before responding. My instinct told me that whoever it wasn't the noble boy. So I waited, perplexed and slightly on edge, for them to say something. And when they finally did, I was left aghast at what I heard. Are you the witch with the miracle blood? Why did he why did he sound like the man who had slaughtered the slaves in the carriage, laughing all the while?
Well, you see, there's a reason for that, Morgana.
What was he doing at my cottage? I thought he had wandered off somewhere, never to be seen again. I thought he was out of my life for good. Why why did he call me a witch? And how did he know my blood had powers? Had Mel told him? Or maybe his talkative little sister had gone running around blabbing about it. Ah, I should have been clearer with them, made absolutely certain they knew to keep their mouths shut.
Hey, no slander against Nellie. She did absolutely nothing wrong. She was great.
Please leave. It took all my strength to get those two words out without my voice shaking. I could hear the screams from 4 years ago echoing in my mind. I could see the limbs flying, the blood pooling at my feet. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it pulsing in my ears. Please stay away from my home. After all that time I've spent forgetting about everything, closing myself off, finally finding peace, why did this monster, who reminded me only of senseless violence and death, have to come back into my world? I never wanted to go through anything like that again. I am in need of your blood. Could you not spare a little? I have nothing to spare for a man like you. My blood is only for the sick and needy. So please go away. Stay away from me. I'm begging you. Get away from this place. You're a murderer. I want nothing to do with you. So please, just go away.
As you say.
Is is he gone? Oh, thank heavens. Uh, my eyes feel like they're burning. No, Morgana, you have to be strong. You cannot let this get to you. Be strong. You have nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. Oh no. Stop. Fight it back. I had sworn never to cry again. But the moment fear released its grip on me, everything that had built up came pouring out in a hot stream. Tears soaked my face. I wiped and still my hands came back wet. With each passing second, I felt myself reverting into an ordinary, helpless little girl. No, that's what I had always been. My whole life, I had just been putting on airs, when in reality, I wasn't even strong enough to withstand a little fright. Even with the horrid man gone, I couldn't rest easy. I couldn't be sure if he was gone for good. Maybe he was just waiting for a more opportune moment to target me again. The following day, I took a brief walk with the noble boy, but I couldn't bring myself to talk to him about what had happened. With how much distance he was keeping between us, I doubted he would be willing to do anything to help. For 3 days and 3 nights, I shook in terror, thinking, considering, speculating, wondering, hardly getting a wink of sleep. I was too anxious to sit still, so I paced in circles around the chair by the fireplace. It's too soon to be sure I'm safe. Can't go outside unless I absolutely must. Not even to just get water from the lake. He could be waiting in the shadows to take my life. I'm not safe here anymore. I shouldn't have said anything about my powers. They've only ever brought me trouble. I should probably find somewhere else to live. But where? How far could I even get on my own? Also, how are you planning to find somewhere else to live if you don't leave? He could be out there, waiting for me to open the door. I would need help. Don't be a fool. No one's going to help me. The boy barely even wants to talk to me anymore. All I wanted was a quiet life. Huh? Is it him? Did he return? Calm yourself. He knocks harder than that. It's not him. Who's there? It's me. Uh, his sister needs more of my blood. I'm not here about Nellie today. I am. I'm sorry for being so distant lately. What? I want to talk things over. Oh, he's finally reconsidered. If he can, if he can treat me like a friend again, then maybe I could ask him. I, I want to talk to you too. No! I opened the door without a second thought. I let my guard drop, because in my mind, the flaxen-haired boy briefly took the place of the slave man from the brothel. The man who had saved me from the terrible lord offered me his hand, guided me into the light. And here he was again, to set me free. To take me away from this place. Take me somewhere new. He had pulled me out of the darkest depths of despair. And here he was again, ready to offer me his hand. A glimmer of hope to cast away the shadows. So I reached out to take it, and my arm went tumbling to the ground, my hope following not far behind. My arm. Take it. That's your share. Should last you long enough.
What do you mean, take it? What do you mean? Why my arm? Why are you taking it? How could you betray me like that? How could you? I opened the door. You said you wanted to talk. So what is that man doing here? Why would you bring him now? How could you do this to me? What does he mean your share? What is it just easier for you to take the whole arm than keep coming back and asking for me to help? Is that? I thought you were a good person. I thought you were a good person. I trusted you. I believed in you. I opened the door for you because I thought you wanted to talk. I trusted you. I trusted you. I trusted you. I thought you were a good person, a nice man, a nice man. I would have given you and your sister as much blood as you needed. You just had to ask, and I would have come. You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to. I would have helped whenever you needed it. Why would you tell me? How could you? Why? Tell me. How could you do something so terrible, so terrible, so terrible, so terrible, so cruel? Why wouldn't you tell me? You wouldn't tell me. Tell. Holy shit! I can't breathe. I gave it the good college try. I didn't realize it was going to stay on the screen this long. Thank you. Felt like an auctioneer there, like 500. Anyone tell me 600? 600? Going once, going twice. Nothing personal. I just need your blood. Without it, she'll lose her church. She needs the money. I needed some way of getting enough money to keep her church running. So the Lord made me an offer.
The Lord? Why him again?
If I brought him the witch with the miracle blood, he would finance a whole new church for her. So don't take it personally. You get to be the sacrifice. To keep her church from collapsing. To keep her world from collapsing. So don't take it personally, witch. Cheers! A saint's blood and good fortune to all. You're a damned witch wearing a saint's skin.
No, I'm not a witch. After cutting off my left arm, the strange looking man stuffed me into a sack and tied me up and threw me over his shoulder and carried me away somewhere. And while he was walking, he muttered at me over his shoulder, explaining where we were going. Apparently, a new church run by someone called the Saintess, and she was going to give my blood to patrons of the church, saying it was some kind of miracle elixir. But what was this nameless nun doing calling herself a saintess when I was the real saint? And why did I have to be the witch sacrificed for her sake? It just didn't make any sense. And most of all, why was the Lord involved? Why did that vicious, cruel, horrible, miserable man have to come back to my life? Why couldn't he just leave me alone? Was that really so hard? Why? He had already had his way with me. He had his terrible banquets, his blood sabbats already. What did he need with more of my blood? Hadn't he already had enough? Did he find out it had real powers and so he decided to come back for more? Was that it? He could have just called me the Saintess instead of her. He didn't have to make me into a witch. Oh, it's because my face isn't it. He wanted a pretty face to put on this brand new church, not an ugly, scarred face like mine. But that's all. She's just pretty. I can perform the miracles, but I'm here with my arm cut off and stuffed in a bag. Even slaves are treated better than this. All I wanted was a quiet life, but I have this power, so I just wanted to use it to help. That's all. Oh, Father, your trial is too great. I cannot bear it anymore. I wasn't born to spend my whole life suffering.
About time. There's your witch. Tell me you didn't harm her, dog. I smell blood. You only instructed me not to kill her. Mistakes were made, limbs were lost. I cleaned up all the blood I got on me. No one suspected anything. That you were able to immediately recognize it as the smell of blood says quite a bit, Lord. You have killed before, haven't you? Enough yapping. She is alive, yes? Of course. Yeah, she's not recognizing anyone with that vision. No tears. Now that's a good girl. It simply wouldn't be the same if you cried and blubbered like a lowly slave or a whore. Dignified and saintly. That's what I need you to be. Welcome, witch. You'll be giving your blood to all my people now, not only just me.
Is that you?
Oh, do you remember me? What an honor, a truly splendid honor.
How could I ever forget? How could I ever forget? All, all the pain and humiliation you put me through. How could I ever forget the blood Sabbaths you so loved to hold? Haven't had enough, have you? Leaving scars on every inch of my body wasn't enough for you? You haven't had your fill of my blood?
I'm thrilled to know the great saint remembers the lavish parties I threw for her. I take it they left quite an impression then.
You're the man who bound me, cut me up, called me a witch, and then tried to kill me. I haven't forgotten you even for a moment.
That's splendid to hear. I'm sure you tried so very hard to cast my memory aside, but you never could you? The fact that that works on both levels just hurts. And you know what that means? That the scars I left all over you run deeper than anything else you've ever experienced. Look at that face, so twisted and hideous. I bet you loathe me. That you'll never be able to forgive me.
I don't care how much my father preaches forgiveness. That's the one thing you'll never get from me. I despise you with all my soul. I revile you with every fiber of my being. For every scar you gave me, I give you a lifetime of hatred. Never, you will never have my forgiveness. This man, the Lord, he destroyed me, mind and body. This man ruined my life.
I see. So I'm the one who ruined your life. But why should that concern me? Your words are as insignificant as the chirps of a dying robin. Scream and shout until your throat goes sore. It doesn't change anything. We lock the witch up and proceed as planned. Yeah, I don't know if Barnier's ghost is appearing to her too, or if it's just that she's so delirious because she's lost so much blood because she lost an arm. And I cannot imagine she got proper medical attention after that, so the fact that she lived it all is probably a miracle.
O Father, God of heaven and earth, my life is become nothing, shattered and empty. Good day, Lord Barnier.
Not hungry. I need some time to rest, so don't bother me.
Yes, sir.
And make sure everyone knows they are to stay away from my room.
By your command, my lord.
Why? Why was she the Lakeside Witch? How could this happen? There, there must be something I can do. Some way to fix this. Now, don't fool yourself, you damned buffoon. There's no fixing that. Her arm's been cut off. Her mind broken. If only that Far Eastern dog hadn't been such a damn idiot. I don't think, look, he fucked up. Don't get me wrong, but it is not the only fuck up that happened through here. Come on, man. Then she might actually be in proper shape. Fucking fuck. I'm the one who gave the order. The only one to blame for this is me. I can spend all goddamn day regretting it, but there's no taking back what's already been done. Ugh. God damn it. What the hell am I supposed to do now? What can I do? I could I could set her free. And a doctor, yes. Find a good doctor. There's no getting her arm back, but he could at least patch her up. This is all my fault. So I'll do right by her. Look after her myself. Make sure she's taken care of for the rest of her life. Are you out of your mind, Jacopo? Why would she ever want to stay with you? Ugh, damn it, I can't even stay focused. Ugh. What is there to think about, boy? You already know what you must do. Get, get out of here, spirit. When will you learn your damn lesson and just stay dead, damn it? The last thing I need is a pathetic ghost constantly sticking its nose in my business. Strong words from the man who can't even keep his head in presence of said pathetic ghost. The answer is plain as day, boy. You proceed exactly as planned. Make witch's blood into a miracle elixir and distribute it at the church. You'll take in tithes as well as winning the people's favor for supporting their new beloved church. It's a fine scheme. I'm impressed you came up with it, boy.
Silence! That was before I knew she was the witch.
What does it matter? The girl's going to be dead soon regardless. Progress and growth, it always comes at a price. You need simply accept that the price has already been paid. Tell me, is the girl worth throwing the entire venture aside? Knowing you'll lose all the goodwill you made to gain from it and more?
She's Morgana's. She's my.
A child could tell you which has more value. You bear the weight of this entire land, boy. Don't try to cast that aside because you killed one little girl. Are we really doing this whole trolley problem thing? Like, this is exactly the same dilemma. Just, with a lot more people tied to the tracks.
She isn't dead. She's still.
Surely you can't call that living.
She's not.
She is. And you killed her.
I did not.
There's no turning back. Why are you so upset about this, boy? Countless slaves have perished at your command. You had the slum rats who tried to bite you slaughtered. And only now are you concerned about another's life? Surely you're not still clinging to your naive sentimentality, are you? Oh, but she's different from those disposable sacks of flesh. She's dear to me. We have so many wonderful memories together. I love her. Enough. You've come too far to step down from the throne. No matter how much you may have cared for the girl before, it's out of the question now. You cannot have her. When a nobleman marries, it's for political purposes. Be it connections, resources, appearances, always something to gain. Taking a nameless peasant girl will make you laughingstock of the land. So lock her up and drain her until there's nothing left.
Shut your damn mouth, accursed spirit! You don't have any idea what you're talking about. You don't know the first thing about how I feel about her. The things we've shared.
Wait a minute. What's going on? How the hell do you know any of that? Took you long enough, boy.
How did I not realize?
You were never the kind of man to speak of progress and growth that I wasn't.
What the hell?
What are you? I've already told you. I am the curse known as the Lord of the Land. Or if you need me to put it in simple terms for your simple mind, I am your sickness.
You're out of your mind. I'm not sick.
I'm not the one who's out of his mind, boy. This is a world of madness and disease, but not of spirits. The throne drives all who sit upon it to madness. Power or sanity, a man can only have one. And all the faster will his grasp on his mind slip when he has no one at his side to shield him from his enemies. I'm not Jean-Francois Barnier, and there is no way for you to banish this spirit. Your mind is broken, on the verge of collapse. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. No, 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 no. You're lying. My mind is not broken. I am perfectly sane. There's not a grain of madness in me. Tell me, Jacopo, is this the power you always sought? Is this what you spent day and night fighting to achieve? What? How are you? I thought you wanted power in order to protect those you cared most about. But here you are, using that power to destroy their lives. Or is power the only thing you care about protecting anymore? Shut up. Is that what I took up the blade for all those years ago? Enough. You don't have any place criticizing me. You're just a stupid child with his head in the clouds, who thinks he can become some kind of hero. If you hadn't been so foolish, I wouldn't be in this place at all. You're right. We chose the wrong path. And there's no way for us to get back on the right one any longer.
This wasn't what I had wanted at all. The future I had dreamed of, the outcome I had hoped for. But who did I even have to explain that to? And who would even understand if I tried? There were walls as high as the eye could see on both sides of this path. Forward was the only way I could go. I had killed my old friends and comrades, lost everything along the way, but still I had marched on, because that was all I could do. And now, power was the only thing that remained in my hands. So I would make a despot of myself, bury all my feelings for her, and continue my march straight into hell. I had no other choice. Every day felt like a slog through a swamp with no end in sight, though I did everything to keep up appearances when I wasn't alone. I masked any trace of my discord beneath a veil of bottomless confidence. It had reached a point where nearly everything I said or did in public was an act, a farce even. Among the mistakes the Far Eastern dog had made was involving a third party. He was a young man, and there was a considerable possibility he was nobility, which meant I couldn't simply dispose of the boy until I had more information. Between that and his decision to cut off Morgana's arm, I was looking like quite the fool for thinking I could tame a beast. Though, of course, my biggest mistake was coming up with the scheme in the first place. Soon after locking Morgana up in the tower, I summoned the boy, making it abundantly clear he was not to tell anyone what he knew, then sealing the deal by turning him into a co-conspirator. The boy was irritatingly timid, in part, I presumed, because the dog had already threatened him. All it took to keep him nice and obedient was a stern glare and a few choice words. I hired the dog to be my bodyguard and assigned the boy to an administrative supervising post on the new church grounds. Having been originally built as a second manor for the previous lord, the church was still more mansion than church, which meant that there was an abundance of rooms for the boy to stay in. I then summoned the saintess there to serve as the face of the church. She was to remain on the grounds all day, and at night she would stay in a cottage a safe distance from the church. I also informed her that I stored my money and valuables in the observation tower, and that she would be charged with treason if she trespassed. She was a naturally trusting woman, and she seemed grateful for everything I was doing for her, so I doubted she would spill anything. Though even if she did, 3 keys were required to enter the tower, one held by me, one by the dog, and one by the boy. So all 3 of us were in this until the witch died. I had one of my aides dig around for information on the noble boy. Mel was his name, and he claimed he had been banished from his home, but I couldn't just take him at his word. I had to be absolutely sure, so that when the witch died, I could eliminate him. The dog, too, of course. No one who knew anything could be allowed to live. That said, he seemed like he could put up a better fight than the boy, so I would have to be a little more careful in choosing how to take him out. I wasn't too worried, though. I was the Lord, after all. So long as that much didn't change, I could do just about anything. Once we started distributing the miracle elixir, the church's following grew far quicker than I had expected. Numerous reports of people being cured of diseases spread through the city, and before long, even the healthy came seeking its powers. Every smiling face that walked out of the chapel put another black stain on my spirit. Her blood really was miraculous. And it was then that I understood why the last Barnier had held all those banquets. He wasn't just torturing a little girl, he was feasting on miracles. And now that word was spreading and I knew the rumors were true, I had lost my final escape route. The plan failing entirely because her blood was just ordinary blood. Forward was the only route that remained. One day, the Far Eastern dog said to me, "Everything is proceeding exactly as you said it would, Lord." I didn't believe in miracles, but seeing all this has tempted me to change my mind. You were right. One girl's life is indeed a worthy exchange. I wasn't sure how I responded, though by that point I largely just rattled off bitter snark and insults reflexively in any response to anything. So, presumably, I called the dog a dog, perhaps giving a laugh. Most nights I could no longer sleep without the aid of alcohol.
I was pretty sure none of it was poison, but I spent a lot of time throwing it back up regardless.
Barnier's cackling echoed in my chambers. The world twisted and contorted.
Quite frankly, I was considering taking my own life. It really bugs me that that instrument is in the bed. Like, that is not a place for an instrument. I'm so sorry. Like, learn how to take care of your shit.
But I wouldn't let myself run away from what I had done, what I was doing to her. I had said I would continue my march straight down to hell, and that was exactly what I planned to do. Again and again, I repeated to myself, I feel nothing for her. I never loved her. She's just another faceless peasant. I have no memories of my past life. The days turned to months, and soon spring was upon us. They finally got shackles to put on me. Must have given them quite the scare when I tried to climb the wall. Isn't that funny? Look, I made a flower crown. Festival preparations seem to be going well. Hey, aren't you going to go? I am not going anywhere. You're a strange one. It's much nicer out there than it is in here. If anyone is to leave, it will not be me. Say, I've been wondering, who are you anyway? I I was created to carry your pain. That doesn't answer the question. I cannot give you any other one, though. I carry your pain for you and offer you someone to talk to, so the last remaining flame of hope in your heart doesn't flicker out. How very honorable of you. You sound like a saint. I don't know how you could stand living like that. What? What's so funny? Nothing. Just, you don't remember anything, do you? I don't consider my work to be saintly, but if you perceive it that way, then that's thanks to you. Because that's who you were, Morgana. You're not making any sense. That's fine, my dear. Knowing what I carry in my spirit would only cause you pain. So I just beg you to live on, to not give up hope. Where am I supposed to find hope? Chained up in a tower. You've been with me long enough. You see me here. My body is on the verge of death, and a black cloud fills my spirit. I despise those men, every one of them who did this to me. I want to kill them myself, and I hate that I lack the power to do so. I want to place a curse on them all. Don't talk like that, Morgana. Please keep your spirit pure. Don't talk about cursing people. There's still hope. Someone someone will come to save you. Maybe one of the three will have a change of heart. Or maybe someone else will come through the door. Just have a little patience, all right? There's no point. Even if someone does come, I have nowhere to return to. I have nowhere. That's not true. Remember all those years ago when the Lord had you chained up? Someone came and set you free then, and someone will. No one's coming. That was a miracle, a one time miracle. The flaxen haired boy, he lied to me. This world is nothing but betrayal. No one is going to set me free anymore. Actually, there is one possibility for my salvation. Mhm. Perfect. Then we'll wait for them to come. Yes, let's. Let's wait for an angel to come. What? an angel to come and set me free. Morgana, deliver divine punishment unto the sinners who would defile me.
Exactly. If only an albino man could have shown up and convinced me not to do this before it was too late. Maria, my love, you're back.
Morning, Maria. You're here bright and early. Hey. Yeah, not like I've got much else on my plate. Well, aren't you quite the workaholic? You know, you're getting to be about that age when most girls would close up shop and settle down with a man or three. And you know, no man wants to get hitched with this kind of bitch. Fair enough. Most girls in this biz are rough around the edges, but you're rough all the way around. Like how you got all up in a client's face the other day? Now that was a sight to see. Look, just because she's more woman than like any of these bitches can handle, like, girl could step on me and I'd say thank you. But anyway, the blacksmith brought this by for you. Huh? Oh, that. I was planning to go pick that up myself. Special thanks for being such a faithful patron, he said. Never met another prostitute who regulars at the smithy. That's one heck of a hobby. Maybe so, but it's the only hobby I have. Not gonna lie, that's a little scary. What kind of girl collects knives? What kind of girl doesn't like something nice and shiny? There's nothing more to it, right? It's just a collection, not for you to, like, use or anything. Like I said, they're shiny. And when have I ever drawn a knife on any of you? Never, right? Oh, no, not use them on us. The thought never crossed my mind. I know how much you care about us girls. I just mean, you're not planning to do anything, like, dangerous? Oh, no, hell no. You're way overthinking it. If you say so. It just looked like this one was made for a special occasion or something. You even had your name engraved in it. What's so strange about that? Collectors get their names engraved on shit all the time. I once had an ex mercenary for a client, and he told me people engrave names in weapons for all sorts of reasons. The name of someone you love to help strengthen your resolve. Your own name is a symbol of your honor. Is this for. How much honor does a dirty old whore like me even have? Like I said, it's just my hobby. I like shiny things, and that's all there is to it. Now hand it over. Promise me you won't do anything dangerous with it. Pinky swear. Thanks.
Her knife, yeah. Is this a knife to kill Jacopo? Because the old Jacopo's already dead, and this is the only way she thinks she can save him?
Sorry, friend. It had been 4 years since the raid on the brothel, and we were still just barely getting back on our feet. It would never be the same as before, though. Not because we had to move locations, but because the slums were shrinking away to almost nothing thanks to the Lord's renovations. Not to mention all the new foreign women who sold their services up in the city's bustling marketplace. Most of our old regulars had taken their business there, and we weren't drawing much in the way of new blood either. With better options to get their rocks off, only the real oddballs went for the rundown whorehouse in a little back alley in the slums. It was enough to keep us afloat, but we'd hardly last another 6 months. A year if we were real lucky. And while we were down here fighting to make it by day to day, our ever gracious Lord was planning a festival to celebrate the spring harvest. Celebrations were to take place in and around the new church set up across the river, and with this being the first annual harvest festival, the whole city was in a rather jolly mood. Everyone except us slum rats, of course. The merchants, the upper class, and even most of the regular citizens were in love with the Lord. Public opinion took a huge turn after the new church opened its doors. I presumed it was all part of his grand plan. Me, on the other hand, I was far from pleased. He had abandoned us in the slums, left all his old friends out to dry because he wanted a little extra gold. And like hell, I was going to stand for that. Word through the grapevine was the Lord and his bodyguard spent a lot of time at the new church. A nun everyone called the Saintess worked there, handing out some kind of miracle elixir.
I assumed it was her that he had business with.
But his business didn't matter so much as the fact that he was there. There was no way I was getting through the fortifications around his manor on the hill, but the church wouldn't be nearly as well protected. Last night, I snuck onto the grounds to survey the area, and there was no sign of any guards or people at all. So it wouldn't likely be difficult for me to slip into the building and hide there until he showed up. Tonight, I brought everything. I was going all in. These past 4 years, my feelings for him have been, well, mixed, to put it lightly. I knew damn well he wasn't the same man I grew up with, but a part of me deep down wanted to believe that man was still there. That maybe he had some reason and I just wasn't seeing it. That I was misinterpreting him somehow. But if I was right and the old Jacopo was gone, I would settle it once and for all tonight. It's quiet in there. Doors locked tight. Figures. Now, with that out of the way, how do I want to get in? Could break a window. I'd rather not make that much noise, though. Hmm? Now, who do we have here? He's heading for the mansion. Maybe he's got a key. I was going to bail if I ran across anyone, but that might not be necessary. How much longer am I going to have to deal with this? And I can't believe he's holding a festival. He's got to be out of his mind. I'm too tired to worry about this tonight. Uh, don't move. Huh? What? Oh, and no squealing either. One peep and this little baby will carve you a brand new mouth. What? What? Who are... are you a thief? I don't want your shit. I just want you to answer a couple questions. If you can do that for me, you get to keep your throat in one piece. What do you want from me? What are you doing here? The Lord comes by here pretty often, right? I want to have a little chat with him. Are you out of your mind? I can't let you see the Lord. Oh, all right. Nighty night then. Wait, I'm not fucking around. I don't care who you are. If you're gonna cover for him, then say your prayers and curse your bad luck. What's it gonna be, little man? Don't hurt me, please. Mel just keeps getting bossed around by adults, but I will point out he also has a massive set of boobs in his face. So, teenage boy still. Where's the Lord? He's not here. Well, it was nice knowing you. Slow down. He's not here now, but he'll be here at dawn. Is that so? I'm not comfortable saying any more out here. Someone might see us. It'll be safer if we go to my room. We can talk more there. And how do I know you're not going to split the second I let go? I swear. I don't know you either, but you're not here to just talk to the Lord, are you? I'm doing what he says, but not because I agree with him. So if anything, I'm on your side. You're better at sucking dick than most of the prostitutes I know. Ouch! I love her. Maria, you're golden. Please never change. I mean it. At the very least, we can't have a productive conversation if we're both on edge like this. Huh. You got a decent head on your shoulders for someone who is within seconds of losing it. All right, you convinced me. Lead the way, little man. But if you so much as breathe suspiciously, your head will roll. I get it. On your feet. Glad I ran into someone without a spine. I'd definitely have trouble sleeping after this if I had to kill a complete stranger. Well, nice looking room you got for yourself, little man. So, the Lord's gonna be here bright and early, you said. But why? Well, daytime I'd understand if he was here to play friendly with all his followers. But no one's gonna be here at the ass crack of dawn. They're not his followers. The patrons of the church are true believers in the word of God. Can't say I'm convinced. Looks more to me like he's built himself a damn cult. Now, my question? I, I, the Lord has important business to attend to in the mornings. I'm not stupid. I'm asking what his business is. I can't, I can't tell you that. Only that he'll be here early in the morning. You think I'm just gonna take you at your word? Oh, I can't tell you why, but I promise he'll be here. It's really, really important, so just wait here till morning. So I sit on my thumbs, morning rolls around, and whoosh, I'm never seen again. That sound about right? No, no. Then answer my question. What's he gonna be doing here so early? He's coming to check on some valuable assets. Say again. I help manage his assets. But not because I want to. He's threatening me. And what are these assets? It's, um, spit it out. I can't. I really can't. Anything but that. What if I say I'll kill you if you don't? Go right ahead. Threaten me all you want. That's the one thing I can never tell anyone. Because they'll make you disappear if you spill. It's not. It's not my safety I care about. It's my sister. They'll kill my sister if I tell anyone. So I can't say anything. You have a sister. She's my only family. I see. So the Lord's blackmailing you to help manage his assets. And as part of that, he's also holding your sister hostage. Not directly, but essentially, yes. That sick, rotten fuck. I don't have any family myself, but a few years back, there was this girl who was like a sister to me. Oh. And he felt kind of the same way about her. Or at least I thought. But now he's fallen so far, he's taken some kid's sister hostage. Maybe I'm reading into things, but do you actually know the Lord? I did. Like a former mistress or something? Oh, hell no, he wishes. We grew up together, believe it or not. What? So you used to be a noble? No, you dingus. I didn't think so. You don't seem particularly dignified. Yep, just a dirty old whore here. Sorry to disappoint. Whoa, I never said that. Anyway, that's all you need to know about me and the Lord. All right. Now, what about you? You known him for long? About 6 months, maybe. So, no, but you've been in regular contact with him that whole time. Tell me, what's he like these days? And don't worry, the knife's taken a nap. Just tell me whatever you can. I'm curious. I don't know much, but all right. The only time I really see the Lord is when we meet up to check in on his assets. We don't chat or anything like that. He always seems to be in a foul mood, and he gives me dirty looks whenever he sees me. Even though you're working together? Like I said, I'm not doing it because I want to. I just wound up in this position. Go on. I can tell you this, though. He's a monster. He's a cruel, evil, heartless man. No one with a conscience could do the things he doesn't care how much pain he causes, and anyone who doesn't fall in line is eliminated. His reputation's improving because he's got the saintess vouching for him, but it's all a load of crap. He's a villain and a tyrant. Sounds just like the previous lord. Huh? Previous lord? You not from around here, little man? No. I lived somewhere far away. and just sort of ended up here recently. Well, that explains it. There was a different guy on the throne up until about 4 years ago. He was a vicious, barbaric fuck who treated people just like his playthings. He would murder slaves by the dozen just for shits. And he did some very bad things to a little girl. This new lord is exactly the same. People are just another commodity to him. Man or woman or child, he doesn't care as long as they're useful. He'll hurt people, he'll kill them, anything to get what he wants. I got that impression. After everything I've seen and heard, was I honestly hoping he'd tell me he wasn't as bad as the previous lord? I've heard enough. He's gone over the edge and there's no bringing him back. I was originally planning to talk to him, but that was never going to work. He's a lost cause. So, what are you going to do? I'm going to make sure he can't shame himself any more than he has, by putting an end to his miserable life. You want to see the Lord gone too, don't you? You get out of this shitty hole he's thrown you in? Because if you do, then stick your neck out and give me a hand. You know what'll happen if you keep up like this. Once your job's done, once he's done with you, you're gone. You're not stupid enough to think he'd let you live, are you? What'll it be? You gonna go on being his obedient little bitch? Or you gonna give him what's coming? Alright. I'll help. Excellent. Your tailor must be damn skilled to accommodate balls that big.
We are back to complimenting him, I guess.
Honestly, I've been waiting 6 months for this. For someone to show up and give me a way out.
Yeah, she wishes, he wishes, but neither of them actually wished.
While waiting for the sun to rise, me and the little man hashed out our plan of attack. The Lord kept a skilled bodyguard around at almost all times, so we wanted to avoid causing any trouble while they were together. He was only alone for a small window of time. When he arrived at the church each morning, he would head first for his private study, unguarded. That was our chance. Time was limited, which meant we'd make it simple, move quickly. We had the element of surprise on our side, though. I could do this.
No, there was no room for even the slightest uncertainty.
I would do this.
I didn't care about saving the people from an oppressive despot or anything grand and honorable like that.
All I wanted was to stop an old friend from falling any further.
That was my entire reason for assassinating the Lord of the Land. I wouldn't be a hero if I pulled it off. I'd be an insurgent. But to hell with my reputation. I'd be hunted down and killed for my crimes not long after anyway.
Jacopo, as your old friend, I'll join you on your trip to hell. And then, at long last, the moment arrived. Exactly as Mel had said, the Lord showed up at the mansion early the next morning with bodyguard in tow. The Lord disappeared into his study, and then the bodyguard headed for the chapel. Once he was out of sight, I glanced over at Mel and nodded.
Who is it?
It's me. There's something I need to talk to you about.
We'll be seeing each other shortly anyway. Whatever it is, you can tell me then.
It can't wait. It's important. And I don't want anyone to overhear.
Is it about the assets?
Yeah.
Fine. Come in.
Here goes. I took a deep breath, held it in. It would all be done in a matter of seconds. All our memories together, the time we shared, sent straight down to the grave. Ah! What? So long, Jacopo. I'll see you down in hell.
Well, that didn't work.
However, not a thing went according to plan.
Kind of figured it wouldn't, but I had hope for her.
My resolve rendered null in an instant. My confidence shattered like glass. My vengeance brushed aside like nothing. My outstretched knife hit empty air, and without even enough time to blink, my whole world shifted. I wasn't looking at my loathsome target's face, but the flat, unadorned ceiling above me. My body spun, and then something slammed against my back. With barely enough time to even gasp, I crashed into the floor. It all happened faster than the blink of an eye. He had me on the ground, knee pressed into my back. My arm twisted up into the air. What? I had him! I had the element of surprise! How could he? It's like he knew exactly what was coming. How could he react so quickly? You look perplexed. Well, unfortunately for you, I've seen my share of assassination attempts. But you I wasn't expecting. Let me go! I thought, if anyone, you might be different. She is! She's trying to help you. You're just beyond help. Come on, Jacopo. The hell are you going on about? You weren't even going to try to talk before killing me. There's nothing to talk about. Not a goddamn thing. I've heard what you've done, what you're doing. Well, credit where it's due. At least you didn't try to poison me. Either way, there's plenty you could have done better. Second-rate attempt at best. You rushed, knowing you didn't have much time, but you still could have used the fact that we've known each other most our lives to get a little closer before pulling the knife. That would have increased your chances a little. Alternatively, you could have tried to distract me with your body, but I doubt you could swallow your pride long enough to do that. Shut your fucking... Get off me! Are you trying to break my arm? You would break an old friend's arm? Don't take me for a fool. You just tried to kill me, you conniving harlot. Oh! How dare you! No, Maria! I'm not gonna scream because I don't want a wellness check at midnight. Fuck. Fucking fuck. You're a completely different man now. No, not even a man. A useless sack of flesh. Call me whatever you'd like. I've heard it all and more. Lord, the boy was sneaking about, so I apprehended him. Running away at the first sight of your grand plan going south? I see you still haven't grown a spine yet, have you, boy? You might have had a better chance if you both came at me together. Shall I kill him? Quit your drooling, dog. I want you to watch him, make sure he doesn't try and run again. And what about the woman? She tried to attack you. Shall I kill her? Right ahead. Go right the fuck ahead. Kill me like you killed everyone else. Cut off my head, put it on a pike in the town square. Everyone? You know, you're right. Nearly everyone I can think of died by my hands. Gratien, the rest of the gang, and Jaren too. Excuse me? I thought Jaren died in the raid on the brothel. But you're saying you killed her? That's right. It wasn't becoming the Lord that fucked you up. You were always on the other side. From the day we first met. I should have never trusted you. Fuck. So it was all bullshit, was it? Every last minute of it. Throw her somewhere I can't see her, dog. Why not just kill her? The last thing I need is people making a big fuss about a dead body showing up while we're preparing for the festival. And it's not like a damn whore poses any real danger to me. Especially not with her arm bending backwards. We don't need to waste any more time concerned about her. What the fuck? What the fuck, man? You won't even fucking kill me? I came in here
with no intention of coming back out. And you don't even have the decency to do that much for me? Shut your goddamn mouth already. Leave your key here, dog. I'll handle our business alone today. So I just have to drag the whore out then. What a disappointment. Don't get any funny ideas. Just because I only told you not to kill her doesn't mean you can sate your thirst with one of her arms or legs. You throw her out and nothing more, understood? Clear as crystal, Lord. Then get out of here. I hate. I hate myself for ever thinking you were a good guy. Enjoy an eternity in hell, asshole. Exactly. Yukimasa just doesn't want to get her cooties. Now, how do you plan to make up for this mess you so kindly made for me? You know damn well how busy I am right now. I am. I had no choice. She threatened me. Jesus Christ, Mel. I forgot how much he irritates me. Yes, you had no choice but to hole up with her until morning, and you had no choice but to lie about having business with me. Uh, uh, um, don't give me that look. Like I told the dog, I have no interest in creating any bodies during festival prep. So I'll let you off the hook for this one. What? And you'll swear you'll never do anything like this again. Yes, sir. I swear on my life. Excellent. Next. And with that, the books are settled. Uh, uh, The only reason I didn't hit you in the face is because your damn sister would throw a fit. So be sure to thank her when you see her. And remember, never again. Hand over your key. Now get out of my sight. Yes, sir. I'm very sorry for everything, sir. Was it all bullshit, Maria? I'm beginning to wonder myself. Not even a word before coming at me with a knife. Not even a sliver of faith in me. I've been at this long enough, and I still haven't learned my lesson. Naive enough to think that maybe she would be different. Dude, you haven't talked to her in 4 years, and you've killed all her friends. Like, no, she probably doesn't have a ton of faith in you anymore. That she would understand, no matter what anyone else said about me. Believe me when I said I really was trying to help. You did not say any of that. I don't know what you are looking for there. That I gave everything else up in the hopes of improving their lives. You have not currently improved her life, so God, I'm such a fool. How many times do I need to be reminded that no one's on my side anymore? She was right about me. I am just a useless sack of human flesh. I should head up to the tower. Hmm? What's that? A necklace? Maria must have dropped it in the struggle. Is it the butterfly necklace? So, what'd you get her? As your big sister, I'd be happy to check the present out before you give it to her. Make sure you don't make too big an ass out of yourself. Today's the day, right? You give her the present, then you finally tell her how you feel. When she comes back, give her the necklace and tell her how you feel. And if she turns you down, we can all have a good laugh about it. I was positive it had been taken or broken in the raid. But you've been holding on to it? You've kept it. For all these years? I would have figured you'd have thrown it away by now. She cared about you, asshole. Necklace in hand, I made my way towards the observation tower, a thought bubbling up from the depths of my mind. It was a wretched, unsightly thing, which only swelled as I drew nearer. Never would I have conceived of such a monstrous notion, of exploiting my old identity,
had this trinket not fallen back into my hands. I knew Morgana wasn't of sound mind, that the world she saw was a twisted falsehood. And though I couldn't see what delusions her mind was producing, it was evident that the man I was now and the boy she once knew were two distinct entities in it. So maybe, if the old Jacopo were still good in her mind, if she still remembered him fondly, then perhaps I could assume that role, much like I assumed the role of the Lord. The thought sent a chill down my spine. By putting on that mask, I would be disregarding every horrible thing I had done to her, every time I had come up here these past few months to draw her blood. In that moment, there was no one in this whole wide world who had fallen so close to hell as I. And in that moment, I could no longer deny the madness that had taken root in my heart, the madness that had given rise to such a fancy. Morgana, do you know who I am? The Lord. What do you want with me? Are you here for... I don't have any... There's no blood left for you to take. That's right. I'm the Lord. I'm the man who's brought you a lifetime of pain. The man who locked you up in this tower. And the man who struck fear into your young heart 7 years ago. Yes, you did. I'll never forget. Now tell me, Morgana, do you know what this is? On your birthday 4 years ago, a young man was going to give you this necklace as a present. Do you remember that young man? Or have you forgotten? Forgotten. What a pleasant time that was. I can't say I'm surprised. You were always saying how much you hated staying at that brothel. Those 3 years were no more pleasant than any other time of your life. I I remember. I remember him. And I remember those days. And do you remember them fondly? Yes. Well, that's great to hear. You can rest at ease, Morgana, because he's going to be here soon, and he'll... That was the only time. What? That was the only time in my life when I was actually happy. Except for those years. My life's been nothing but pain and misery. But those days, they were warm. Everyone was so kind to me. They showed me love. It was all I had. The only happiness I ever had. No time in my life was better than that. But it was taken from me. I wish it had all just ended there. Ugh. Her words were like I'd plunged through thin ice. I could put on the best forged mask in all the world, but I would never again be the man in her memories. I could act exactly like him, but I would never be him. My hands were permanently stained with blood. The sharp smell of death hung around me like a cloud. I was a heartless killer, and anyone could see that. Never would I be able to smile like him, and never would I be able to share his dreams. The fact that I'd even had the idea to pretend to be my old self was proof in and of itself that I was too far gone. I'd reached the point where the real me was the imposter. He's dead, and so is everyone else. Why do you have that necklace, Lord? Did you kill him? Was that your doing too? So the best thing I could do was let Morgana have her pleasant memories unmolested. I'd ruined enough for her already. She'd said those 3 years were the happiest time of her life. I couldn't tell her the truth now. And there were no possible lies or justifications. that would ever allow me to stand by her side again. You did, didn't you? I did. I killed the young man. I killed all of them. I killed and I killed until there wasn't a soul remaining. I I knew it. You were the cruelest man in the whole world, the most evil, irredeemable man to ever set foot on God's earth.
That I am.
I despise you more than anything.
I
I hate you.
I love you.
I want nothing more than to put a curse on you.
And she will. She will follow through with that.
I buried my feelings for you so they wouldn't get in the way of my being the Lord. I want to see you dead. But those feelings never entirely went away. I tried to weigh what was more important to me, but I misread the scales. I hate you with all of my being. I lost any right I had to say this years ago. But I want you to know I truly do love you. I revile you, detest you, loathe you. I loved you. There's not enough hate in all creation for you. Tell me, what do you see when you look at me? What do you hear when I speak to you? I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
I hate you. I hate you. Okay, come on, Morgana. I get it. You hate him.
You can't see the tears on my cheeks, can you? Your mind, your spirit are shattered beyond repair, aren't they? You're not actually understanding anything I say, are you? You're not going to be able to remember any of this, are you? I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hadn't realized it had gotten so bad. My eyes had been shut for far too long to what was happening to you, to my own feelings, to everything. For so long, I've avoided facing the truth. Not only did I fail to protect anything, I destroyed the one thing I cared about most with my own two hands. That's all I ever managed to do. I wonder, what was the point of no return exactly? This isn't the world I wanted to show you at all. I, of all people, should have done everything in my power to ensure those good days never ended. But any apology I make would just ring hollow. I hate you. 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 I hate. It seems my being here isn't doing your mental state any favors, so I'll leave your food here and get out. I hate you. 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 I would like to tell you this, though. Even if I'm fairly certain you don't understand what I'm saying, tomorrow's the first day of the Harvest Festival. And when it comes, I'm going to finally do something I've been considering for a long time. I'm going to set you free. I'm going to put an end to all of this. I hate you. That ship sailed long ago, I know. You're in no condition to go out into the world anymore. So I'm not going to release you and forget about you. My father, to his side, an angel. Send me back to heaven. That's the plan. Yes. We'll go out and find some place to die together. For as long as I've had the throne, a part of me has wanted to say, I'm done. I have no need for this anymore. But every time the thought rose to my mind, it was pushed back down by a refrain of, so you'd let all that work go to waste? Everything you sacrificed to get here? Back and forth the voices would go, day in and day out. In reality, it wasn't pride or a desire to hold on to my power that stopped me from doing this sooner, but the fear that everything I had worked so hard for would be for naught. But now that I saw death looming over her, it was clear that only greater, more crushing despair awaited me. It would break me utterly, and I would end up abusing my people even worse than Barnier had. The best thing I could do for everyone was to end it all here, to step down off the stage. Morgana would have wanted release from her agony, and death was the only path she would find it down. My sickness was worsening by the day, and death the only thing that could cure me. I chose the Harvest Festival in part because it seemed like a fitting end, but more because, with everyone distracted by festivities, they weren't as likely to notice the Lord had gone missing. As my final act of penance, I would find her somewhere with a gorgeous view to gaze upon as I took her life. Somewhere you could see almost over the horizon. Somewhere the sun shone bright and proud. Somewhere that felt like you could see the world. And carrying the full weight of her enmity on my shoulders, the Lord too would meet his end. Finding some place beautiful for her to depart this life from was all I could do to ease her pain. All I could do to provide her a peaceful repose. All I could do to pay for all I had done.
Best laid plans.
On the first morning of the Harvest Festival, townspeople swarmed the new church's grounds. When I arrived, there were wide smiles on everyone's faces, from the young to the old, from those here to partake of the church's charity to well off churchgoers. Everyone was in good spirits. It's a festival! Look, everything's got flowers on it.
Quite the impressive event you've put together. The decorations are a bit on the thin side, perhaps, but for a church, any more and it starts to look garish. They can go ham all they want down in the square. You don't seem very enthusiastic. Why would I be? You spent so much time preparing for it, I assumed you would be more excited. As if. This is all politics, not fun and games. An effort to bring unity to my people, you could say. I don't understand you at all. How can you spend so much time doing something you don't enjoy? I don't give a rat's ass if you understand me. Fair enough. When I first met you, I thought money and power were all you desired. But I've come to realize that's not the case. I'm beginning to think you're hardly a bad man after all. Okay, I'm not going that far, and I've sat here from the beginning, so. I knew you were an idiot, but I didn't realize you were that foolish. How can you possibly say I'm not a bad man knowing all I've done? That's also fair.
Hey, no running, kids! You're going to get yourselves hurt! What's the big deal? Run with us, Marie! You shouldn't pull on people, that hurts! Uh, Good morning, Lord Barnier. Preparations are all complete here, and the stalls down in the city are ready to open up as soon as you give the word.
Thank you.
I couldn't be more thrilled to be part of such a wonderful celebration.
I'm glad to hear it.
Um, are you well? You look a bit tired.
Comes with the job. There's hardly a day I'm not exhausted.
Well, don't work yourself too hard, Lord Barnier. It's important to get your rest.
I'll keep that in mind.
Oh, I almost forgot. Would you like a flower, my lord?
A flower?
We made all sorts of flower accessories, and we're giving them out to anyone who wants one. They do the same sort of thing at the Midsummer Festival, and I like the idea so much that I borrowed it.
Okay, I know Morgana's about to die, but also she deserves the fucking flower crown. So, get her a flower crown.
What do you say? I think this one would look lovely in your hair.
I'll pass.
That's a shame. And what say you, Mr. Bodyguard? Care for a flower?
No, go on, take it. Don't let their efforts go to waste. Very well. I'll take one then.
May God smile upon you.
Thank you.
Well, see you later. And Lord Barnier, if you need anything, please don't hesitate to ask.
Hey, you can have the day off. Go spend it with your nun. Why the look? I'm merely surprised you would show any consideration for your dog. Well, it is a special occasion, I suppose. Needless to say, watch out for yourself. You were assailed just last night. I didn't realize you were even capable of concern. It is a special occasion. We'll take care of our usual business this afternoon. Should be able to bring a little more food than usual as well. Understood. Until then. Until then.
Ah, I've died and gone to heaven. There's sweets as far as the eye can see. Better hurry before they're.
Hey there, watch where you're going.
Yes, sir. Lord Barnier, I'm so very sorry.
Well, if it isn't Mel's sister. Someone's a bit too wound up, it seems.
I've never been to a festival before, so I'm I'm terribly sorry for running into you. Please don't get upset at me.
Don't worry, I'm not upset. So you never went to any festivals in your homeland?
What? Uh, um, no. I couldn't go to any because I was stuck at home all the time.
Eh, I suppose you wouldn't be able to get out much and spread your wings as the daughter of a noble family, huh? I know, she's so cute. And look, she's a freak, but also she's got reasons to be a freak. And also teenage girls, I can say as having been one, are all kind of freaks. So should assuming that she ever got past that point, which I don't think she did in any timeline, eventually she might mellow out a little bit. Just a little bit though.
No, not in the slightest. It's all dresses and manners and no time for fun. I'm surprised. Most people just don't get it. So I'm gonna spend all day celebrating with my Mel.
That's what the festival's for, but don't go too crazy. I'm told you're not in the best of health.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm feeling wonderful today, so I'll be fine.
You look anything but, girl. The festival isn't just for one day, so if you find yourself feeling unwell, let someone know right away and then get some rest, understood?
Yes, sir. Nellie, where'd you run off to now?
What what business do you have with my sister?
Dearest Mel,
I'm begging you, don't hurt her. I'm not sure what this looks like to you, but I have not touched her.
what's gotten into you, dearest Mel? The Lord was just concerned about me.
Concerned? Him? Not in 1,000 years. Mel, we take care of business this afternoon. Be at my study at noon sharp. Uh, okay, I'll be there.
Oh, we can't have lunch together? Running a festival must be a lot of work.
Well, sweetheart, y I don't think you're gonna make it to lunch, but it was a cute thought. Why does everyone think Jacopo preys on kids? I mean, he does not give the most welcoming aura, so. I could hear the sounds of countless people making merry outside, but my mind was elsewhere, envisioning the place I would take her to die, somewhere far away, somewhere with a majestic view. I wanted nothing more than to run off right then and there, but there were things I had to sort out before I could disappear. I delegated several days' worth of work to my attendants so the festival wouldn't fall apart without me. My mind may have already been made up, but it was still my responsibility as Lord to ensure that everything ran smoothly so long as I remained on the throne. But all I could do after was pray that someone much more qualified, someone of actual royal descent, stepped in to take my place. And before I knew it, noon was upon me. As the bell chimed 12, the three of us climbed the observation tower. The plan was to deliver Morgana her food, then send the other two back outside so I could take her somewhere far, far away. That sounds like a very detailed plan. But when we opened the door, her spirit had already left her body. The witch killed her.
The blood of the witch killed my sister. That wine you're drinking is no medicine. It's it's the blood of the witch. You're all drinking witch blood. Uh, there goes another one. What's going on? We were told it was a miracle elixir. You're saying we've been drinking a witch's blood? Please, everyone, don't panic. It this must be some kind of mistake. A mistake. A girl is dead because of this mistake. No, this whole thing was a sham from the very beginning. You and the Lord were working together, buying our favor with this rubbish. Please calm down, everyone. I feel a little bit bad for Pauline through all this because she literally has no idea what is going on. Death to all the devil's deceitful minions. Death, 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 death. Ah! Stop it. Stay away from her. Get back. Death to him, too. That's what you get for coming in and making such a mess of our country, foreigner. Love the last minute racism. Why not? Why are all these damn outsiders getting better treatment than the rest of us anyway? The Lord's a traitor to his own land. He doesn't deserve to be on the throne. We'll take the city back, free it from his corrupted grasp. Death to the traitor! Morgana's death set off a chain reaction of hell and suffering. Perhaps it was fate, or her intense animosity made manifest. All I knew for sure was what I could see, that the world was crumbling around me. And I watched through the observation tower's window. The first to go was Mel's sister, who had regularly partaken of the miracle elixir. She started vomiting blood, and shortly thereafter she was dead. Mel then broke down, revealing the truth about the elixir before stabbing himself in the throat. Fear and panic spread like a plague, breeding a desperate rage that found an outlet in the saintess, the face of the church. The Far Eastern man dashed in to protect her from the mob, and soon a full-on battle broke out between supporters and opponents of the Lord. Actually, no. A battle would imply one side stood a fighting chance. It was closer to a riot, with anyone perceived to be on the Lord's side ruthlessly slaughtered. It was as though I was peering into a nightmare. There was no question who would come out victorious. It was a scene I had witnessed once before, but this time I was on the receiving end. The illusory faith I had instilled in the people to distract them from their dissatisfaction disappeared in a wisp, and upon discovering it was all based on a lie, that dissatisfaction came flooding back stronger than ever. I could tell myself I had always had the people's best interests in mind until I went blue in the face, but it didn't matter. I was a tyrant in their eyes. I turned away, and there lay Morgana's limp body. For a split second, I considered going over, leaning against the wall beside her, and taking my own life. With my foot hovering in the air, I swung my leg around, making my way towards the stairs. I had done enough to torment her in life, failing to even allow her to pass on peacefully. It would be cruel and disrespectful to force her to be with me, the man she despised more than any in the world, in death as well. And as I was still the Lord, having not yet stepped off the throne, the right thing to do would be facing the wrath that I had wrought. For a second, I wondered if maybe Lord Barnier had greeted us, thinking the same thing. The revolution 4 years ago was also a foregone conclusion. But he didn't run. He stayed and waited for us to arrive. Perhaps it was partially pride, and partially that it was the only way out. We had lived as lords, we had ruled as lords, and when the time came to harvest the seeds we had sown, we would die as we had lived. When I reached the ground level of the tower, I could hear shouting and banging and stomping through the door. They were probably tearing the mansion apart looking for me. Find him, they cried. Dethrone him, they cried. Burn him, they cried. I felt slight pang of nostalgia as I listened to them, remembering when I had been in their position. All I had to do was open the door, and I would be dead in seconds. They didn't just have me vastly outnumbered. I had no intention of fighting. My life amounted to nothing. My people are all dying. Soon I'll be stripped of my title of Lord of the Land, and not a thing will be left. It was all utterly meaningless. I killed everyone I ever cared about, even Morgana. There's not a single person. No, I didn't end up killing Maria. I guess that's something to be thankful for. I pray you'll live on. By all means, spend the rest of your life hating me. Just so long as you live. Now, off I go. I stepped out before my people, and a dozen bloodshot gazes snapped onto me all at once. I raised my hand in preparation to give them a few parting words, but lowered it again without saying anything. There was nothing for me to say anymore, nor did I have the willpower to produce words. They impaled me from head to toe with sickles and pitchforks and all manner of deadly implements, and no longer able to support my own weight, I fell back against the door, sliding to the ground. I could feel the life draining from my body. Their voices grew faint. Were they shouting? Grieving? Cheering? I could no longer tell the difference. My consciousness quickly slipped away, and as it did, flashes of memories whisked past. A child fighting to survive day by day. A young man with his head in the clouds, hell bent on going out in the world. A crowd of friends hooting and howling in a pub. Girls at a brothel, constantly teasing but always reliable. And you at my side. I thought I felt a gust of wind, guiding Jacopo's mind towards one particular memory. I don't need to see the world. All I want is. I could hear her voice with incredible clarity, and after so many years, I finally figured out what she had said that day. I don't need to see the world. All I want is to find our home. Not long after we met, I told her that I thought we might come from the same region, and that perhaps if you went back far enough, you might even find we shared a bloodline. And she remembered. Nearly 3 years later, she still remembered that insignificant conversation, which was why she didn't want to see the world. She was more than happy to just find the land from which we came. I never needed to reign supreme. I never needed the favor of the masses. All I needed to do was go looking for that little pocket of tranquility. I stand before a gorgeous golden field. Flowers bloom all around, swaying in the warm breeze. Vaguely familiar faces smile and laugh. After a long, hard journey, we finally made it. There was no big, bustling city, no one dressed in extravagant clothing, but they would welcome us warmly, welcome us as kin. It's a quiet land, not a trace of strife. They bask in harmony, smiles on everyone's faces. Nevertheless, she's still afraid of how they might treat her. So I offer her my hand. This is it. This is our home. As we draw closer to our home, her tense nerves seem to loosen, and she lets out a barely audible sigh. She slowly draws back the hood covering her. The soft light of the sun shining down, to reveal, for the first time, her face. A beautiful girl stands there, so enchanting I find myself lost for words. A smile rises to her face, now free of the hideous marks that once covered it. A smile brighter than I've ever before seen. The lush fields stretching out behind her accentuate the glimmering gold of her eyes. I stand there, silently taking in the sight. Her braids flutter in the breeze. A sky blue as sapphire drapes the scenery. She isn't a witch here. She's an ordinary girl. And me, an ordinary boy. We have no power, no extraordinary abilities, and I can't think of anything more wonderful. With all the weight lifted from my soul, I give a soft sigh, looking her in the eyes. And then I chuckle, remembering something she once said. And you told me to prepare to be let down. Ordinary though we may now be, our banter remains unchanged. And I know she's got a snarky response waiting to let loose. This is what I could have had if I'd made the right choices. What I wanted more than anything in the world.
And there we go. We finished it. I'm heartbroken. It's awful. But we did eventually get to see that alternate timeline that I was hoping that we were going to see, like the actual timeline of what happened with everyone dying. So I don't think this changed my opinion on Jacopo much, but it does at least give context as like how he fell so hard and so far. So I enjoyed it. It was dark, but we kind of knew that going in. So that was good. I enjoyed it. So I think we have one more extra. I think that's Resurrection, which I'm hoping is a little bit nicer, you know. Lighter, I guess, after we've just had two very dark stories back to back. But even if it's not, hopefully we get to see them do some interesting stuff. That said, I don't know that there's much after that, so yeah, exactly. I'm hoping it's like that modern day epilogue that we kind of got a hint of. So, fingers crossed. Especially because I want to know, like, this was great, to hear all about them. But what happened to Michael and Giselle? Like, I need to know more about them and, like, them going on with their life now that they've reunited. So I need that in my life. Anyways, I do not know that there's much. Oh, we have a last scene. So I'll hold that thought. Oh no, Maria. God damn! Everyone's lost their fucking minds. I need to get the hell out of this city and fast. On the first day of the Harvest Festival, I got this crazy bad sinking feeling. So I went to check out that new church across the bridge. Some kind of riot or uprising or something had happened, but it was all finished by the time I got there. And not long after, the truth of what the Lord had been doing came to light. I wish I'd never heard a damn thing. I didn't need anyone to tell me he wasn't the guy I grew up with, but never in my wildest dreams had I imagined that he was that far gone. All the time in the world wasn't enough to make sense of that. The valuable asset he had been storing in the observation tower was, of all fucking things, the girl we'd looked after a few years back, Morgana. But the madness didn't end there. The witch with the miracle blood everyone had been talking about, that was her too. My mind was so scrambled I wasn't sure what to be most stunned by. But I had far less time to organize my thoughts or vent my frustration than I could have imagined. If I were smart, I would have left town the instant I learned the truth. After the riot, a strange sickness began spreading through the city. If you caught it, your skin would start turning black. Then, before long, you'd be vomiting blood. Anyone who tried to treat it was infected themselves. The people called it the witch's curse. Get your heads out of the sand! I tried to say there's no such thing as curses, but I couldn't bring myself to finish. As much as I wanted to believe it wasn't, I was starting to think that maybe the curse was real, especially thinking back on the scene at the top of the tower. The heavy air in the chamber, her dead body's eyes wide open, the eerie glimmer in those eyes that I was pretty sure I hadn't imagined. It was like I had stepped into another world, and I could barely keep myself vertical. If she really was a witch, then yeah, that scene was a pretty damn convincing argument in favor of the existence of her curse. It didn't matter that she was dead. And even me, the least superstitious girl around, was starting to consider it a possibility. So the people who had actually believed in the miracle elixir were freaking right the fuck out. They had seen what the Lord had done to her, how much pain and suffering he had caused her. It was easy to believe that she hated the world enough to curse it. That's what witches did, after all. And the city was scared to death. First, they tried to seal the curse into the observation tower, but that didn't stop its spread. So next, they went after anyone who had known her in life and punished them.
Almost there. The forest isn't far.
There she is, that's her!
Shit!
They discovered that the witch had taken refuge at a brothel a few years back, and it wasn't long before they linked me to it, making me their next target. None of us at the brothel had any idea Morgana's blood possessed that kind of power. But the more I tried to defend myself, the more they began to suspect me, thinking every word a ruse. The whole city had gone completely batshit.
It's right there. Like hell I'm gonna let them catch me. Fuck, my arm.
She's down, boys. Get her.
No. No, get off me, asshole. Get away from me. What the hell do you think you're doing? Wait!
A bunch of men dragged me down to the church and tossed me in the cellar. I could hear them shouting through the locked door. "O witch, O great witch, we offer unto you the punishment for those who wronged and forsook you in life. So please, we beg of you, stay your anger. Have mercy upon us."
Hey, have you assholes lost your fucking minds? I didn't do a goddamn thing to her. I never wronged her, and I sure as hell didn't forsake her. I didn't have any idea what that sick fuck was doing to her.
"O great witch, please spare us from the wrath of your curse. Please have mercy on us who laid not our hands upon you. O witch, O witch, O great witch."
You're fucked in the heads, every last one of you.
You're not accomplishing anything by putting me down here. So let me out, please.
Let me out of here.
So did Jacopo actually end up killing her too? Just after his death, posthumously?
Damn it. They really did just leave me here. The door's locked tight. I'm not pounding my way through this. Damn thing won't even budge. Fuck. Fucking fuck. Something. There has to be something I can do. Hey, is anyone out there? Someone let me out of here. I didn't do anything. How long have I been in here? I'm so fucking thirsty. Food? That would be nice too. Someone get me out of here. Please. I feel like my body's made of stone. I'm going to starve to death in here.
Actually, you're more likely to die of dehydration, but
You've got to be kidding. Oh God, I feel sick. My everything hurts. Is that blood? My blood? It's so dark. I never noticed. All the black patches on my skin. Why? The curse? But I never did anything to you. Why? Why would you curse me? Why? Morgana? What did I do? You didn't mean to, did you? It was just a little mistake, wasn't it? You can still take it back. There's time, just take it off me. I didn't do anything to deserve this. I didn't do anything to deserve being cursed. Come on, spare me. This is all on his fucking head, not mine. Is it because I didn't do anything? Is that it? Are you saying that I'm to blame too? Because I didn't do anything to stop it? Because I couldn't trust anyone but myself? That's That's asking way too much. How was I even supposed to know what was going on? I was up to my neck in my own shit already. Come on, Morgana. Give me a little sympathy. Spare me from your curse. I can barely move my body at all. I feel like I'm all out of blood to cough up. I don't even have the energy to cry for help anymore. So this is how I go, huh? And when I'm gone, that means everyone's dead. I wonder what whoever finds my body will think. They'll probably think that I was one of them. Now, wouldn't that be some real bullshit? Look at me. I know how to write. I'm a woman and a whore and from the slums. But look at me. I can read and write. Pretty impressive, huh? Why, I forgot how I learned, though. Oh, right. I had a friend who was doing some really important work. So I studied, so I could help them out if they ever needed anything. And I'll make sure to write it all fancy and proper, so no one suspects it was written by a whore. See? I'd make a kick-ass aide.
You would have. We advocated for it the entire time. I'm still mad.
Oh, who were they, though? I can't remember anymore. You hear that? I'm innocent. The sinners are the ones who lived here. It was all them, not me. So if somehow there's something after this and our souls live on, please only curse them. They're the bad guys. It's all their fault.
Maria. Wake up, Maria.
What? I've unlocked the door for you. Now get up. You don't want to be sleeping on that cold, hard floor. M- Morgana? What? How? You're dead. Oh, I'm dead, am I? And you must be half asleep still. But, but I. Now that's enough of that. Let's get you out of here, shall we? How? I can barely move. I think you'll find that untrue, my dear. Go on, stand up. Uh, you were right. I can move, and I feel better than ever. It's like I was just imagining all the pain. See? What did I tell you? Now come, let's get out of this dreadful place. They're waiting for you. Huh? Ah, it's about time you showed up, boss. What? Yay, I'm so glad you're okay. I've been worried out of my mind.
Sh- Sharon, I was told you were killed.
Say what? Do you really want me dead that bad, boss? Did I goof up on the job?
No, I never said that. And you're a model worker, too.
I've always been glad to have you around. Maria said something nice about me. It must have been real rough in there, huh, boss? I can't believe all those bad men would just lock you up. It's not nice. How's this city doing? Have things cleared up? You can rest easy. Everything's all rightio now. That's. I'm glad to hear it.
You look like someone just pissed in your stew, girl. Where's that burning fire in your eyes?
Uh,
Hey there. I knew a little solitary wouldn't get the best of you, girl. Oh, whoa, don't just stare. What, you think I was dead too? Like hell, ain't nothing in this whole damn world could take me down. I'm the crew's #1 for a good reason.
That's right, you are, aren't you? You survived living as a slave in Barnier's manor. There's not much that could kill you.
Damn straight, huh? Don't you worry about nothing. Long as I'm around, nothing can touch our slums.
Yeah, I believe you. So, hey, if you're alive, does that mean
That it does.
we're all alive? Every last one of us.
You were never a morning person, but this is a bit ridiculous, don't you think?
Jacopo, is that is that really you? Is it really the same old Jacopo I used to know?
What do you mean used to know? I'm the same Jacopo you've always known.
But but you became the Lord, and then you killed everyone.
Do you really have that little faith in me? I would never kill any of you. You know that. Just look around. Does anyone look dead to you? Because they sure look alive to me. Whatever terrible dream you were having down there, Maria, it's about time you came back to reality.
But I
Look me in the eyes. Tell me I'm not the same Jacopo you've always known.
no, you're definitely you. The same old friend I've always known.
See, was that so hard? Well, we've got the whole gang here, so what do you say we go do something? Hit the pub, maybe? Now that's a plan. We're well overdue for another drinking contest.
Ooh, I want in too. You're coming with us too, aren't you, Morgs? I am. I'm not comfortable in such lively places. Come on, just this once. We can sing together even. Your voice will have the whole place enchanted in a snap. I I won't be singing, but I suppose I can join you this once. The chance doesn't come around often.
Oh, come on. You never want to go when I ask, but you will if she does?
You could be drowning and I still wouldn't agree to do anything you asked, so that's irrelevant. I'm not going because Sharon invited me, but for Maria. Will you join us?
You bet your butt I will.
I'm so glad.
Oh,
So glad that everyone's alive.
I'm trying to figure out what she's written. I something in Vice, I think, but I can't figure out.
It was all a dream. Just a bad dream. I knew it. None of that could ever happen to us. Save a seat for me, guys. I'm coming.
All right, now it's the end. That was a horribly depressive ending, but all right. We're gonna end here for tonight. Because we're way over. Let's see. What did I want to talk about? Reminder that there is an economic blackout happening tomorrow. So if you are able to, basically don't spend money for the next 24 hours. And if you do need to, obviously, food, necessities, medicines, things like that, please do, obviously, survive. But if you can, try to buy local and use cash if you can. And just sort of take it as a next step. So how do you separate yourself from those mega corporations and take back your power. Next stream is, let's see, what is today, Sunday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. I believe Lemur will be back, so we will have I think we're doing Resident Evil Biohazard. I think, was what we agreed on last time. So we'll start that. Below is the link to our YouTube channel. So you can go watch any of our old videos on there. And those videos are now going on again. I think that's all I've got. Thanks for hanging out, and we will talk next time. Have a good night, all. And of course, the pop up comes up just as I try to end the stream.